You know, life has a way of surprising us. We've all had unexpected moments that really end up impacting who we are. I'm Chavie Brooke, and let me tell you, I've had my fair share of these moments. On Totally Unexpected, I don't just interview my guests. We have long, meaningful conversations to explore the twists and the turns that change their lives. You won't only be hearing from the guest, you'll be hearing from me and my thoughts and reflections, just as I would be doing in real life. These aren't traditional interviews, they're conversations about struggle, growth, and the moments that make us human. We all just want to feel connected, at least I do. And if we end up feeling a little less alone, that would make me so happy. Welcome back to Totally Unexpected. I am so happy to be here with you guys today. And I'm especially happy to be sharing today's guest, who's none other than Mushky Yiftach. You might know her as the Duct Tape Lady. She's the founder of Honor Roll Crafts. Listen, she's the best. She's an Instagram content creator. She just started a podcast with her sisters called The Sisters Chat. Hilarious. She was a teacher for years, which you will hear about in this podcast. We talk a lot about her passion for education and how connected she felt to that piece of her. And then throughout circumstances, had to kind of evolve and shed that and lean into different parts of herself, which is a lot of the crafting and the creativity. And she also has these amazing kits, tambourines, clay art, and these like kits that you can order, which are like stunning and gorgeous and fabulous. So Mushky's the best. And I have to share something really special. I had a last minute cancellation, and it was difficult because I have a production schedule and I need to record a certain amount of episodes. So I have a certain amount of episodes to share with you guys. And it was very difficult to have lost this interview. And I was like, who could I call last minute that can handle being called last minute and wouldn't like be offended or take it the wrong way? And I actually have like a running list of the people that I want on this podcast. And it's very extensive. And I was like looking through my list. I'm like, who on this list? Because obviously I want it to be someone who I want to interview. I don't like, anyone who's on this podcast is first choice. Do you know what I mean? But so I was looking through the list of like, okay, who could handle being asked last minute? And I saw Mushky's name and I'm like, I feel like she can handle it. Like, first of all, she's spontaneous. But not only because of that, but I think she would be able to take it in the spirit it was intended. And sure enough, I call her and she's like, yeah. I call her Tuesday and this is for Wednesday. And my interview had canceled like a few hours before. And she's like, yeah, I just have to find a babysitter for my baby and let's do it. And to tell you what an amazing experience that was, to call somebody, to have like a positive interaction, to be enthusiastic, and to be able to just spontaneously show up. And by the way, show up in such an amazing way. This episode is so much fun, and I really, really know you're going to enjoy it. So without further ado, enjoy this episode, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts. If you want to sponsor, please reach out. I think it's not a secret that podcasts are funded through sponsorships and advertisements. There's no secret way to go about it. And I would love to partner with all of you and any of you. Please reach out. All my contact information is in the show notes. And we're very grateful to all our partnerships and all our sponsorships. I had a guest, they canceled 24 hours before. I was very calm, but I'm like, this is actually a little bit of a crisis because I don't know if it works like that for your podcast, which we'll get into, but like I have a production schedule and I have like when things need to be recorded so then they can get edited, so then they can, and it throws everything off when I can't record when it's planned, you know? And I also, it's not like I can be very flexible because I'm leaving town next week. So it's not like, oh, okay, I'll stick it in on a different day because I don't have like a different day. So I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I was like, I need to think of somebody, first of all, who's already like, I'm dying to interview. But besides for that, someone who can handle being asked this question. Like, could you record with me tomorrow? And it's actually not an easy question to ask. And it's also like most people, first of all, will never be able to with the schedule that they have, or it's like a very loaded question. Like, what do you mean? Why are you asking me now? Like, why didn't you have me planned? Like all those things. I'm like, who's the perfect person that lives spontaneously, that would take this question and love it? And I was like, Mushky, she's the person. And you literally responded and reacted exactly as I thought that you would. You're like, oh my gosh, this is the best question ever. I would love to. I just have to find a babysitter for my baby. And I was like, Hashem, there are amazing people in this world. And everyone, there's different types that makes the world go round. But I appreciate you. So thank you for being here.
My pleasure, Chavie. You said that, and just a week ago, when me and my sisters were planning our podcast, we were thrown off because of Hanukkah. Mm-hmm. And it was like the exact same conversation. And we were like, oh my gosh, wait, we need someone and we can't record on Thursday because it goes out on Friday. We need someone tomorrow. Who can we ask? And we had a whole list. And we're like, no, they'll be so insulted. Oh my gosh, no, we for sure can ask that person. And we ended up asking Rachel Vale because we're like, we know she lives spontaneously. Like she can handle, she's a doula. Right. And it was like the favorite episode and it just flowed. So when you asked me, I'm like, I'm going to be like Rachel Vale and just be so gracious about it. And I honestly was so excited. And I don't know if you remember, Chavie, but I'm also so grateful to you because a few years back, you literally might not remember, but I reached out to you.
Of course I remember. What are you talking about? Of course. We did a super fun live together.
Yeah, but that's when I was like in a very desperate, not good place. And I felt like I needed to get out there. And I didn't even know what I was advertising or selling, but I just felt this need, like, I have to get out there. And I literally desperately messaged every Instagrammer. It's so embarrassing because now when they message me, they're like, hey, Mushky. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I ignored this message.
This is why you have to be a mensch. It's worth it to be a mensch because it comes back around.
Sorry, I ignored you 5 years ago. And I'm like, it's fine. But let me tell you, Chavie Brooke did not ignore me. I didn't even know what I was selling. I'm like, I'm selling my free YouTube channel.
No, you were getting your name out there and it deserved to be out there because you had incredible things to offer.
Not really at the time, honestly, but you made me feel so good, Chavie, and not desperate. You're like, for sure. And I was like, and I'm going to pay you. You're like, you're going to pay me? For sure. And you just made me feel I don't know, just really good about it. And you just took it on. And even when I was so not sure. So I was adamant, I'm going to make this work no matter what.
Oh, that's so sweet. I think that's a really just fun story. And I think it does. I say this all the time to my kids. They do not listen to me yet, but maybe one day it'll sink in. But I'm like,
are you still doing gentle parenting?
I don't think I ever gentle parented. We have to talk about that. But I always tell them the energy you put out in the world is the energy that you will receive back. And I just really believe that. I'm like, be a good person, put good vibes, just be good energy. And this is such a great, because I didn't know that all that stuff was going through your head.
Yeah, no, you had no idea. But
I'm like, look at that. See, good energy came back.
Anytime, Chavie.
I love it. It's a great place to start because you are really in a different place than you were those many years ago. I don't even know how many years ago it was. And what a journey it's been. And I think what's very cool is that you have a lot of facets to what you're doing right now. You still crafts, you still really have developed that into this huge thing. And now you have this other podcast. It's just kind of really fun to watch.
Aww.
Like, how does it feel when you reflect back? Like, what goes through your mind?
I'm like almost going to cry when you say that, because I feel like I'm always on like go, 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 do mode. And then like when people remind me like, Mushky, do you remember where you were 3 years ago? And I'm like, let's not go there. Let's just like continue going. And I feel like, first of all, I know when we record with you, Chavie, I'm like, well, this could be a roller coaster. I have no idea where this is going to go.
Buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up. But I feel like I'm like, I kind of just want to give that message of faith to people that like really within 3 years, your life can really change. You're like, no, it's not going to happen to me. I can't like, but it's not been that long. And like, I really thank Hashem that I feel like it definitely was an accelerated journey, even if it wasn't the easiest, but like, thank God it wasn't like my whole life journey, but like things really thank you, Hashem, happened pretty fast. And that's my message. Even if someone out there is like, oh, I really feel like I'm in like, you know, I get very dramatic. Sorry, like the depths of despair.
Oh my gosh, drama is where
out there. And like my life, you know, like everything's falling apart. You know, even duct tape can't put it together. You know, you told me I could be dramatic.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, like really have faith in yourself and your abilities, and Hashem will send you the right people. Like I'm like a people's person. Like I have no faith in doing it myself still. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so hard, because like when I get so big out there, people are going to be like, what was it? And I'll be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? It was 600 things that helped me.
Right. But that's the truth. And when people want to say it's like one thing, that's very unrelatable, because I think what you're saying is like, no, it's a lot of things that come together. And I'm curious what you think about this, what I noticed in your journey, whatever journey, stupid word, but we use it anyway.
No, I don't care. I'm just going to own it.
It's fine, right?
No.
Is that I feel like you seized the moment. Like something happened, like your reel from your country went viral and you seized the moment. Like you made something out of that. You like, oh, okay, where are we taking this? And you didn't just like, okay, whatever, it just happened. And but I think that I noticed that theme in your life is that something happens and you make something of it. You don't just let it slide by. You're seizing the moment. And I think that's a really important thing too. I heard it somewhere else. I was listening to something and I was listening to a podcast. I don't remember who it was, but she was also saying is like, you have to like keep your eyes open for opportunity. And because you never know what is going to come up. And when there is an opportunity, take it. It's so often we don't even realize that we let like things pass us by. Either we have like our self-doubt, or there's the voices in our head, or maybe it's not a good time. But I just think opening your eyes to like looking out for the opportunities and then taking them is, I feel like, one of the things that contributed to where you are right now.
Oh no, my eyes are made of those goggles of opportunity. It's terrible. Yes. I'm always like, where's the
but I think that's huge.
It's not such a normal way to live, because I'm like, wait, is this it? Is this the person? Do I bounce on them now? Maybe I'll let them sit in the restaurant and just eat.
No, don't ever
crash their meal. And now me and Ayla do it together, and like it's unstoppable. Like first on your own, but then when you're like a team together, like, you know,
it's like watch out for the Often sisters. Just watch out. I love it. My favorite thing is to understand and hear where people come from and where they started and how they got to where they got, you know, all the little things in your life that make you who you are. So Mushky, as a little girl, tell us about her.
So you wouldn't put the two of us together. The 7th out of 12 from really, thank you to, you know, my parents, my siblings. They're really rambunctious, fun. My parents always made us feel like we were, you know, the best family out there. We're so
Oh,
lucky.
love
We had like
that.
a 15-passenger van with 2 different colored doors. And, you know, my mother for Hanukkah was like, this year for Hanukkah, we're not buying presents. We're going to choose it from the back of the cereal box.
Oh my God.
We were like, whoa, the Flintstones. Like, and that's when they were like really struggling. But like, we never felt that. But I'm the 7th out of 12. But like, so I share the middle with my sister Nini. But I definitely like claim that middle. Everyone around me was really loud. And I felt like I was always just more happy-go-lucky, but much quieter. And people don't believe me. But like then I was like, wait, did I make up that story? But then like I remember my aunt at a wedding saying like, Mushky, when did this happen? I'm like, what? She's like, when did you like turn to a butterfly? You were always like the quietest one. And I definitely think I was a late bloomer. Like when my sisters kind of were like going out of the house, or when I went away for camp and people were like, you're so good at this, you're a good counselor. I'm like, really? Or like one time my sister's going to help my mother with the bulletin board. I was already like in 7th grade and she was like, okay, fine, Mushky, I guess. Like, do you want to help? You know? And then she's like, what? You can draw? You know?
Oh my God, you flew under the radar. Like,
yeah, totally under
completely.
the radar. And I remember in 8th grade, actually, so this was already a little older even, my mother, I think, felt like I wanted to shine. Like she knew I had that more theatrical, like part of me, but was like more subdued. And she like went to the principals, which was very not her style. My mother was not that mother. We fended for ourselves. And she's like, I really think like Mushky could be Geo. Like, and they were like, what? And I think they gave me like finance or baby pictures. Like there was like, nobody knew that
About you.
Yeah, nobody knew that side of me. And even myself, I knew I had it, but like if I wanted to talk at home, I'd have to be like, you know, scream. It just never felt, I was that typical. I was actually reading a thing about middle children. I was like, oh yeah, like that's it. You know, like no one's going to forget the baby. They're the baby. And then there's the oldest in the middle. You're just like social.
Part of the pack. Yeah.
Part of the pack. Like my mother doesn't like when I say this. I love her, but I definitely was left at home once for a very long time until anybody noticed.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, do I get the computer to myself?
Right. This is like a score.
Yeah. And then like it took me a while. I was like, wait, am I by myself? Wow. No, so definitely that typical middle. But then like when I came to high school, my sister started doing this in Yanigula Mashiach thing, where my brother Gershi would write a little thing about Mashiach, and like she would try to get girls to say it in front of shul, and nobody wanted to do it. And she was like my 12th grade big sister, and I was in 9th grade, and she would always be like, Mushky, go say it. You say it. And I was like saying it day after day, like, no. And then I was like, okay, this is like boring, so I have to make it a little more dramatic. So like in 9th grade, like I would just like say, okay, so Mashiach's going to come, like take the simple sentence and kind of like.
And like dramatize it.
And people are like, oh, who's that? Like,
no
who's this
way.
girl that's like not afraid to speak in front of the whole, like, you know, the whole high school. And I really attribute a lot to crafts. Like I felt like while I was doing crafts, my mother actually then saw that I was very crafty. My grandfather was a huge craftsman. He had a whole workshop in the basement. He had trains, little men out of, you know, wood. And he was into like the cowboys and Indians. He would always these little trinkets. And he promised me a huge dollhouse. I still have a rocking chair he made me. And all my siblings, all my cousins have this talent. Like one of them draws like for Bella Bracha, Yankee Gitlin, and my cousin Shlomi was an artist. My mother was like waiting for her artist, and all my siblings like did not like art or crafts at all. They're kind of allergic, and I'm the 7th. And then when I was like 5 years old, my grandfather saw me drawing like a flower with chalk, and he told my mother, okay, this is the one.
This is the one.
This is it. So when I started getting into crafts and stuff, my mother was like, oh my gosh. And you know, she kind of like knew that already. So she was so supportive. She gave me a room in the basement, a little tiny room. And I would stay up till 3 a.m. making hairpins. I called it Panemius. I made my own little business. Like if someone liked, you know, for school, I made a pin with little pencils. I would, a little globe, put them together. If someone liked reading newspaper, I'd make a newspaper out of a bow seashells, whatever they liked. And I sold hundreds of pins.
No way.
In Beis Rivka High School.
Oh my gosh.
Hundreds. I would go around and people that, you know, knew about it. And then my mother, when I came back from seminary, they were able to get the house next door. The basement there was nothing to do with it. And she let me have the entire basement.
No way. What a way to like support and
Oh, oh my God.
encourage.
Yeah, like looking back, I was like, wow, that was crazy. And like exactly what I needed, like my space. And I turned it into a crafts club. And I had other girls from high school, like Gil from Base Rivka, let me take all the leftover paint from Base Rivka production. And we painted this whole, it wasn't, like basement. And I had duct tape all over the poles. Probably nothing was safe. I made duct tape curtains. And then so it was one room and it was all covered in duct tape and everything like that. And I had classes there and then a back room with supplies. Also, like I gathered like 10th graders and we all painted.
I'm in shock and amazed because my brain does not work like that. Like it's incredible having that creativity and that life and the almost like the skill to just like do stuff and make stuff happen and include other people in it.
Yeah, it probably comes from my father, who's like a doer,
Yeah. Yeah.
My mother's like, what is wrong with all of you? Like, I just wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. We're like, Ma, it doesn't come from you.
Right. Not your genes. Wow. Okay. So this is high school. And then.
No, so that was, so it was through high school. Then when I came back from seminary, that's when I really started started crafting. And in 12th grade, I went to a shliach. Actually, I was talking to their daughter-in-law. They're like, well, they had no idea. In Puerto Rico, the Zarhis, and there was a winter camp. And they told me like, it was like it was like really little kids. And it was Hanukkah. They were doing something with Gelt. And Nomi Heyman was the head counselor. And she said, oh, we're doing this duct tape activity, how to make wallets out of duct tape. And everyone was like, what are you doing? And it was 5-year-olds. It was like not age appropriate. Like they could barely get it. And everyone was complaining. And I remember being like, this is the coolest thing in the entire world, and almost hyperventilating and being like, wait. If you could make a wallet, you could make anything. And they're like, Mushky, could you just help the kids? And I could like, it was like,
you were just like, a bomb went off in your brain.
And then I was like, just thinking what I could make. And I came home and I just used every roll of tape. And it was only gray tape, like silver, the regular.
Right. It wasn't even when the cool duct tape was
no
out.
Colors then. And I remember like I came home from Puerto Rico. My sisters were like, how was the beach? And I was like, look at this. And they're like, forget the trash. How was the beach? I didn't know there was a beach. And I came home and I started doing duct tape classes. And then I remember someone asking me like, how are you going to, then we also did on Base Rivka Shabbaton, a whole thing. And I said, okay, you could do it in big groups. And someone's like, could you do it at my daughter's birthday party? And I'm thinking like, how am I going to entertain so many kids at one time? And I was like, wait, if I turn this into an outfit, a duct tape outfit, I don't need to like discipline. I don't need to tell the kids to listen. They'll be like, what is going on?
Who is this lady wearing a duct tape outfit? How cool.
Yeah. And it works. It works.
It works. So you literally wear duct tape clothing at events.
Yeah, I don't show up with people. Are you going to wear a duct tape? I was like, oh, well, I will not show up without a duct tape outfit. Yes. So I think it's been like 16, 17 years since I've been doing it. And I wanted to start doing it. So I remember like calling up all the shluchim in the tzachlis and being like, hey, do you want to do this duct tape thing? And they're like, wait, what is it? And like, they're all the same joke. Like, what, you're going to duct tape kids to the table? And I was like trying to explain it to them.
For real?
And I didn't actually believe that someone would hire me. And the Chaim Pors in Great Neck, Rabbi Chaim Por said, okay, sure, I'll hire you. And I remember being like, I'm trying so hard to do that, but.
And then when it actually happens, you're like, wait, what? Sure. You shouldn't trust me.
He's like, yeah, sure. How much do you charge? And he's like, when are you available? And I'm looking at my little pocket calendar from Judaica World that's completely empty, completely. And I'm like, I think I have a day or two on the week of the 24th.
Oh my gosh. Epic.
And
that was that your first like public?
My first paid with paid like camp with
yeah.
It was the full thing with the duct tape outfit with the thing. And then and thank God. And I actually, since then, never really had to advertise duct tape because once I got into Bar Park, then they're really helping each other. Yeah. And still now I'm already getting calls now like, when are you going to come? So I always, then obviously have to make a new outfit because I go back to sometimes the same camp every year.
How many duct tape outfits do you have?
Okay, so it's a sore topic, but I definitely have like.
I stepped in it. I didn't even know.
Like probably like 20 at this point, and
Yeah.
after a year of use, because I make it for Purim, and
Right.
then I wear it like mostly throughout the summer, almost every day. Like I used to go to a camp, now a little less. But after a while, it really, once you fold it, you have to like keep it rolled up. Like my clothing
I
are all
mean,
like
it's duct tape. Let's be real.
yeah. So you have to keep it really well. But after a while, it does like fray. But I had each of
Disintegrate.
them in like a box. Literally, after I'm like, it looked like a coffin almost in this huge box, and I was storing all of them. And then when my mother, I was moving from California to New York, she's like, I was like, obviously that was the first thing I was going to pack for like my museum or something. And she's like, "Mushky, I'm going to hold your hand, and we could do it together, and we could throw them out."
Oh my
And
gosh.
I'm like,
Dramatic.
no. And she helped me. She threw it out. And then I was like, Mom, if you're going to do that, at least we're going to get a reel from that. And I took them all out of the dumpster, and we made a reel of her like holding my hands, and we could do it together. And she got so much hate. She couldn't walk down the street.
She's like, you made Mushky throw out her duct tape outfit.
And she's like, "But you're an organizer." They're like, "Exactly, I'm an organizer. I would have never let her do that." And then every time I saw like a garbage truck like going through the city, I would take a picture and put sad eyes on it. But
Wow. So how long does it take to make a duct tape outfit? Like, what is the process?
okay, so obviously the inspiration only comes last minute.
Last minute, for
Last
sure.
minute, and
I relate to that.
And even though every year I'm like, it's not going to be dysfunctional for my family. I'm going to I'm going to be organized this year. I'm going to come up with a theme. Never like one year, but Hashem, like it always comes. Like 1 year, 2 days before Purim was that what color is the dress, blue or black or white or gold? Do you remember? It was like breaking the internet. People saw it different. So I did that. Another year I didn't have an idea, and I ended up subbing for a school. And she's like, "Mushky, you're like such a bracha. You're like Mary Poppins. You just popped in." I'm like, "Thank you."
There it is.
There it goes. But now I need to be a good mother. So it's like what my kids want to be. So like that adulting's a little hard.
How does it feel to like need to be a good mother? It's so rough.
Are we going to do a
So
closed door
exhausted.
podcast? I don't know why. Like it's so hard to blend the two. And like I just went. I had like an influencer. Like they invited me to these big influencers. We did a reel last week, and then after.
Oh, I saw that by the way.
You did?
Oh my gosh! Woo! It was like Mushky. I'm so happy for you.
And when I get in this mode, it's so crazy and so embarrassing because after we sit down, they're like, "Wait, I have to check on my kids," and I'm like, "Oh, I have kids."
Oh, I have kids.
So whoever doesn't feel like a good mom out there, you are an amazing mom.
It's so funny because I actually was just talking about this. Next week, I go to Mexico for a yoga retreat that I do every year, probably, I don't know, for the last 8 years. And it is incredible and I love it. And it's really the one place and the one like trip that I do that really for real, like it's filling the bucket on, I'm in a beautiful location. I'm using my body in a really healthy way. I have alone time. I can stare into space and not speak and not. So I bring books and stuff, but so often I don't even read. I just sit there and do nothing. It is like one of the most healing and rejuvenating things. But every year before I go, because I go for a week, it's a full week. Every year before I go, I have all these like little guilty feelings that creep in. Like, who do you think you are? You're leaving for a week. Like, that's so indulgent. You're like, all the messages that we are conditioned to have. But I know, like, at least I know because I've done this enough times that I have all these like guilty feelings before I go. And then the second I land in Mexico and I get to the location, it's like a very cool location. It's like almost outdoors. Like there's the little like casitas, like they don't have walls. You're like sleeping outside basically. There's no electricity. There's no Wi-Fi. I mean, there's at the place where you eat, you can like plug in your phone and get a little bit of service, but nothing in the little bungalows. You use like a lantern, like a kerosene lantern for light, like for real. Like it's incredible.
Do you ever go with someone you know, or that's the beauty of it? To like
I go myself. It's not even like catered. The person who runs it is a really good friend of mine from Bozeman. Like it's not kosher. The food is not kosher. Like I get food from Mushky Hecht in Puerto Vallarta, and I miss out on this like obviously missing out, but this like beautiful like farm to table food, like delicious. But I will go. I will eat my peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because it is worth it. And I kind of like that it's not catered to me. Like, I like that it's a little bit out of the box. I like that I have to make it work. I like that it's a different environment. Like, there's something really refreshing about that. But the second I land, I'm like, family? What family? I don't have a family. Like, what are you talking about? Like, forget about them. Like, my husband literally just said to me this morning, because it's been such a hectic week, and I actually have to do a tahara tomorrow. And
Wow.
it's such a big zchus and it's such a big merit, but it is not the thing that I was born to do. Like, it is really hard for me. And I've only done it once before, 2.5 years ago. So I don't even
This is your second
remember
one. Wow.
my second one. I don't even remember how to do it. I feel really overwhelmed. And I'm like, Hashem really wants me to earn that trip because it's like a few days before I go.
When it's you doing it mostly by yourself.
So I have,
You're the one in charge of it.
I'm the one in charge, but the first time I did it, I had 2 ladies in the community who were incredible and one was a doctor. So I felt she was amazing because the halacha side, okay, like I was in charge of that, but like all the medical stuff and all the like body stuff, she knew and she wasn't grossed out. And like, you know what I mean? Like, it was such an anchor. And this time she's out of town and I'm like, I don't think I could do it without her. So I really have to step up. And I don't even know why. So my husband was like this morning, literally, as I was getting ready to come to record, he's like, you're going to go to Mexico. You're going to turn off your phone. He's like, don't even text me to check in and see what's going on. Like, just, and I'm like, okay, I just have to make it a few more days. But to what you're saying, not a long-winded story, to agree with you when it's like, kids? What kids? I have kids.
I think it's also then credit to our husbands who let us feel like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like recently I was like, I should really try to be more like him. Like when he's away for whatever it is or late at work, I shouldn't be like, the baby's crying. What should I do? Like he kind of like, he won't message me. And then I'll be like, oh, was everything great? And he's like, no, the baby
Not
woke
really.
up 2 minutes after you left and this one was crying and you forgot to tell me about this. And I was like, I can't believe you didn't like
Fetch about
bother
it.
me, like, and
Yeah.
call me up and ask me. Sometimes I'm with women and their husband's like, what is this person?
Yeah. I relate to that. Like, my husband really, first of all, he understands my need for a break and encourages me to go. I think if I had to also like fight that battle and like have to
It's too hard.
insist that I needed it, and it was like too many battles to fight. So I feel so lucky to be supported in that way. And I always say, like, how come when he leaves, I am not as good of a sport? And when I leave, he's fine. Everything's fine. And when he leaves, there's like all this drama. And I'm like, it's not good for my self-esteem and my ego. But I think there's something to be said for like the mother and the mommy behavior. And they also, like, my husband doesn't, he's like, we are just going to have a smooth and successful time. And so I'm not fighting with them. Like, I'm picking my battles. And so there's a lot of things that get, that there's much more junk food. There's much more like yeses. So he wants to keep it smooth. And I'm just like,
Movie night
no,
all night.
I'm a stickler. I'm like, this is the schedule. This is what we're doing. This is a thing. So I try to make myself feel better that's why, but
You keep telling that.
keep telling myself that. But yeah, also like, I'm not the one that's leaving dinners in the freezer and having like the whole schedule planned. I'm like, bye, you've got this. I don't do that.
I know. I see like Kaya writes it with like her lists and the things and the clothing, and I'm like,
The dinner's like pre-made and in the freezer. I think my husband knows how to cook. Like, I don't know. I don't do that. And I'm very grateful that I don't have to. Let's just put it that way.
yeah, no, my husband's like, I don't get why people think men need to cook. You're a human. You need to learn how to cook food for yourself.
Correct. And cook for your family if you ever need to. Like, I grew up that way. My mother is a preschool teacher and director. So the 2 weeks before school, we didn't see her. She was like non-existent. Like, she was in school morning till night, prepping the classrooms, doing the teachers in service. Like, we knew. Like, the first school starts really early in Texas. It's like the second week of August. So like August started and we're like, bye, Ma, like, see you. And my father made dinner, put us to bed. Like he did all the things and everyone was just fine, you know? So I grew up like that. So that's kind of my expectation from the men in my life, you know?
I didn't grow up like that, but I feel like I can't fake him too much because then he's going to realize it's like
That it's unusual.
Overboard. So I'm
Don't tell him.
yeah, whatever. It's normal, you know? And when people are
I
like,
don't think you're that special.
realize how lucky you are, Mushky. Debbie, do you realize you spoil her? I'm like,
Shh.
Like she supports you and you take her to the events and you, I'm like, shh, we're not telling him.
I love it so much. Okay. Yeah. So it's hard to be a good mom sometimes. And we have to remind ourselves that we're a mom but like, do you feel conflict with like having a career? Is that something that you feel guilty about?
So I'll tell you what I was teaching, which was, very like in schedule. And that's like kind of like an easier, and that I felt like was easy to blend, like the whole teaching life. And it's actually funny when you started with your podcast, you like put out the word lifequake.
Yes.
Lifequake. And I was like, it was so helpful. I was like, oh, that's what I'm going through. A lifequake.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's what it is. So I was teaching for a bunch of years. Since I was 18, I just knew I loved being a teacher. My grandmother, my mother, I never was like, oh, it's a, nebuch job. Like I loved it. And I actually think I was probably one of those like goat teachers, like,
yes,
people would tell me, I didn't realize like, Mushky, you're changing my kid's life. Like you're not just a teacher,
And that's what teachers, I feel like teachers are the most incredible people if they're doing it because they love it and they want to, not as like a default.
Oh yeah. My money is going like Merit Hashem straight to teachers. I'm like, I want to do a thing like sponsor a teacher and like just if someone has extra money, like $20,000, just make a teacher's life easier that year. And that like these 25 kids are benefiting and having the greatest thing and it has to go directly towards them. So I was working in, my father-in-law ran a school for 30 years. And I was always obsessed with that school since I was a little girl. Like I heard about that school in California. I went to see it, a tour, and it was really, a new building. Oh my gosh, compared to, like where we went to school new. And I kind of always knew that I was going to work there. And like, I remember my friend being, why are you so obsessed with that? I was 12. But then I got married and I was working in my father-in-law, school. He was the director and I was the teacher. And then I really wanted to like take it up to next level. Like, I'm like, why should only Chabad House kids have all these amazing things? And together with Simi Raichik, we started doing Bubbies events and inviting Zadie's in it. And that was like my life's for like 5 years. That was like my life and devoted. And it was so fulfilling. But then there was this lifequake and it wasn't pretty. My father-in-law, my husband who worked in the school got kicked out. And in solidarity, I left with them, and I stopped cold turkey in the middle of the year. And
it was your life.
It was like, I saw, like, I give myself credit for like seeing things I see. And I knew with all my limited heart, I was going to be there forever. And people would tell me, they're like, Mushky, walking down the halls, I was like the queen of the classroom. I'd walk down the halls. I was like, I'm going to dress as if I'm in a law firm every single day. And I like invested in my clothing and I would wear heels to school and people were like, you're just like, what is going on? And everyone knew, like, it was just this thing. I was like, I love it. And I want the kids to
elevate it. You want
to elevate it. And the kids felt like, wow, this is where she wants to be. And I would come to class, be like, guys, guess where I want to be today? They're like, Disneyland. I'm like, no, right here. This is the best place. I put huge flowers like in my room. So it was like I felt like I was really elevating the school and this huge mission and everyone around me like knew it.
Felt it.
Felt it. And then kind of, I felt like everything was like taken away. And it wasn't like a job. It was like my life's work. And it
was your calling.
It really was my calling for that. And I felt grateful every single day. It wasn't like, oh, I forgot. Like every day I went to work and I had this like little smile in my pocket. Like,
how incredible though. I feel like that's very unique to love what you do so much, especially as a teacher. Those kids were so lucky.
No, and everything flowed. And obviously we would always complain about the principal, obviously.
Yeah.
But as like me and my friends, the ones that work there, I mean, my best friends, we were like complaining about everyone. We're like, but we know we're so lucky. Like, we know we love it.
Wow.
And then I had to leave. I mean, like, I wasn't forced to, but like, and people were shocked. They're like, but it's just your father-in-law and your husband. You could still come back. And I'm like, no, like,
That
no.
doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right. And I don't think, people, in some weird situations, people do separate like family and husband. Like, it's just your family. I'm like, yeah, but now we have no money and we don't have jobs. And now we're all suffering. No one suffers in a family on their own.
Right. I always say nothing happens in a vacuum in your family. Like, we're all connected. Even just like something as little as a mood. You don't think you can be in a bad mood and the rest of your family isn't affected by that. Doesn't mean you can't be in a bad mood, but just know that like nothing happens in a vacuum.
Right. So you could imagine exactly that. And like, thank God it wasn't health related. And I remember being like, no, it's not a real trauma because like, it's not health. It's not this.
It's a real trauma, just not a health related trauma.
Yeah. But then it kind of turns into your health and mental health.
Exactly.
Because I could not. Like, I was giving happiness speeches before that. And I felt like I had all these tools in my toolbox. Nothing helped. Like, nothing. And all the things I knew to do. And people remember, Mushky, you gave advice to me. I was like, I once was able to give advice. Like what? And I went to work in a different school and there was like, all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I felt every day I'm going to work. I just love working with Chabad kids. Like my spark wasn't there. I felt like I was just like withering away every single day and like, couldn't even like recognize myself at all. Yeah. Like that spirit. And people were like, Mushky, when are you going to come back? I'm like, you don't even want me back. Like, I'm not even that same. It was like a few years. I'm like, I'm not even her anymore. Like, I'm going to come. I'm not even like fun in the classroom anymore. I was working in another school. All of a sudden, I even have control of the class. I was like, I don't even know what is going like on.
And I feel lost yourself
and everything. And like, I know people always say like, I was going through a hard time. And I'm like, just say what was actually going on. People say like, I wasn't acting my best self. I'm like, no, I literally hated everyone.
Yeah.
Like I was suffering. Like I asked my husband, like, could I say this? He's like, say whatever you want, Mushky. I hated my husband, hated my kids. I hated my life. I felt like everything was taken away from me. And I was like, let me just do the things that used to bring me joy. And I even went back to the school after a few years because I was like, first,
that's it. That's what I
were like, are you going to come back to the school? And I was like, I'd rather suffer. And my father's like, finally, a little bit of me in you, And then after a few years, I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, and I wanted to teach my daughter and I just, my heart was still there and the people and friends. But it revived me on some level, but it wasn't like the same. And I was like, okay. And I also used to like doing this and programs. I used to like speaking and nothing was like bringing back that spark. And then I was like, okay, I felt like I'm falling apart.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, where do I even pick up? Like, where do you start when your whole life feels like it's falling apart? Like, am I starting to work on my marriage? Am I starting to work on parenting? Am I going to start exercising for the first time in my life? Do I get a health coach, a life coach? Where
do you start?
Where's the starting point? And then like, there's so many obviously like different things. Like I called up one rabbi who's like a Kabbalist and I met him earlier and I was like, I can't talk to him now because it was like in a public setting. I'm like, this is not the right setting. I called him a few weeks later. I was like, you don't know who I am? He's like, no, I know exactly who you are. I met you in the room back in the summer. When I looked at your eyes, I knew you wanted to speak to me. I've been waiting for your call.
No.
Yeah. And he's like,
chills.
He's like, I don't know why you're calling me because you have the same healing power. He's like, but not in what I do. He's like, your healing is just going about your life and you're going to heal people just by being happy going through your life and doing you.
Wow.
And so that was like the biggest, I was like, really? So I'm like, okay, I'll get there. Even though I felt like a shadow of myself at that point, I was like, okay, like there's something to work with. Like there was like this like light I kept looking at. And then like, I was like, where do I start with? And I was like, probably just someone on Insta, actually it was Kathy Heller. I'm going to give her credit. I feel bad because I never actually like messaged her. Do you know who she is? She's a Jewish lady. She has like a podcast. And she was like, you want to change your life? Just change your energy. Change your energy, change your life. And I'm like, what? I
That's
think that's
it.
it. Like, that's the one thing I have to do. Like, that sounds easy enough. Like, I couldn't do this list of all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, and all of a sudden she was talking and like, she was like, no, everything's right there. The bracha, like the blessings, they're all there. You're just a radio. You just have to be tuned into the right channel and they'll all come and all this. And you just have to have a higher frequency. And all of a sudden it was like a language I could speak. The second people were like, start doing this, like lists and spreadsheets. And I was like, no, I'd rather stay unhealthy and miserable. Like,
yeah, like that was not accessible to you and didn't speak to you. That wasn't your frequency.
Yeah. So then I was like, okay, like we're going with the energy,
which is the root of everything. So you literally like bypassed all the Band-Aids, and went straight to
I did some Band-Aids. Actually, I want to give a shout out to my father. He actually, and this is pretty personal, but it was like, so he like, we knew of a therapist and he's like, Mushky, I'm going to sponsor marriage therapy for however long you need. Which is so expensive. It was so like, I'm so forever grateful. And we did that for, how long we needed, but we ended up moving. Like, I just felt like back in LA, things weren't like shifting or changing. Everything felt so hard. And I was very stuck. And even though I loved it, and for 5 years, I was like on a high, I just knew we had to move. My husband always wanted to move back to New York. And I was like, no. I don't know why. I was just like, no. Can't do that. But then we ended up, there were so many signs, like 5 years. I was like, no, we're not. I was like, no, we're not being victims. We're not leaving. We're staying right here. And then I was like, heck with it. Like, and there were so many, like the apartment with this, with that. I was like, we're not going to find anything. And everything just like it was so literally miraculous, like clarity, like not. I remember folding my arms and saying like, well, I'm not moving, but if Hashem sends me an apartment on Crown in Kingston, then I'll move. Like ridiculous things. And my sister's like, I was like, what? She's like, well, you said Crown in Kingston, but like, I don't know. I know of a beautiful apartment on Carroll in Kingston, but that's not, you said Crown. Like, does that work?
Is that
no,
good
so
enough?
It was like so clear. And like, I was nervous about moving, but I knew my husband was too kind to be like, we're moving. So I was like, I was like, okay, we're taking a hold of our life. Like, we're going to really do this. And then we moved and I don't know, Hashem's really just been so kind and things just started to flow and patch together. And right when I moved here, like a few months later, this girl, Ada Rabisky, reached out. I didn't even know who she was. She ran this thing called Camp Crate. And she's like, I think Hashem was like, she's not going to be able to like, he just, at the end, he'll send me people because, it's like, I'm not always so capable to find them. Literally sent to me. And she said, I know in different words, she said, I know you run like a busyness, but how would you like to run a business? And
oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Never heard of that. Like differentiation.
Actually, I think I heard that once from Shimmy Weinbaum and I was like, oh, like he once said that to me and then everything made sense because that's what I felt like. Yeah. And I love doing crafts and being the face of it and the, the this and the that. And then we started selling kits. But I forgot to say, basically, I was trying to think like what really brings me joy. Like what is bringing me joy back in LA? I remember my friend Esty sitting me down, Mushky, like, what makes you happy? And I'm just like, nothing.
Nothing.
And it's funny because I come back and everyone's like, Mushky, you haven't changed one bit. You're the same from high school. You're that same happy person. And I'm like, I just smiled.
You missed a whole big chunk in the middle.
Yeah, and I was like, and I crawled back had to crawl back to, crawl back to that. But I remember thinking like, what used to make me happy? And then I remember like, you know what? Like, I think a lot of times you go back to that little girl, like what you like doing when you were little. I was like, I just love to craft. Like, I love to craft. I love putting on, like these kind of shows, being theatrical and like, so even though, because I wasn't really majorly doing crafts when I was in school, because I was so fulfilled with like that whole shlichus aspect. Right. So then I started, actually Tovido reached out to me and was like, oh, do you want to do this? And I was like, this is exactly what I want to do. Then I started a YouTube channel and then kosher.com found my little baby YouTube channel. And that's just
this recently, right?
No, this was back in LA. So this was back in LA. So I was like fighting going back to Crown Heights because I feel like when you move to Crown Heights, you really need your center. If you're not like centered when you move to Crown Heights, you're gonna be flying one night to L'chaim, one night this, and you don't even know what's going on. So I feel like I could only move back if like, because then I always felt like I was the teacher, but now that role was kind of like ripped from me. Like I was like, for sure, more Mushky forever. I was like, I need to find something else. Now I felt like, okay, I'm coming back and I have my crafts. That's what I'm going to focus on. I worked with a coach. That's why I reached out to you, actually. I was working with Michelle Moses at the time. And I was like, I'm moving to New York. I don't want to be all over the place. I don't want to be like one of those people that are everywhere. Like, what am I focusing on? And she was like, well, like she like, peel back all those layers. What do you want to be? And I'm like, I'm so embarrassed. I just want to be like a kid celebrity and walk down the street and wave and, and
oh my God, I love that. I love that. And that's what
I'm happy you love it because it felt very embarrassing at the time.
No, I think that's incredible. And that you like knew that about yourself and you are that.
Flavie, who says that? I just want to walk down the street being a Disney princess, like for no reason.
But that's what makes you you. That's what makes you so lovable and like you completely. Like you belong walking down the street, waving and having everybody be like, oh my gosh, it's Mushky.
Or no, I'm like, I should be on the stage, but I don't sing. So I'm like, why is everyone clapping for me? I don't even know.
Because it's you. Oh my gosh. That's incredible though that you like knew that. Like pinpoint. Like, what do you want to be?
Well, that's after me saying, well, I really like helping people. She's like, not true.
Not true.
Like, okay, I really like this. She's like, not true. What do you really want to do? And I'm like, okay, don't tell me what.
I love it. I love that. By the way, I kind of want to spend a second there for a second because wow. You know how everyone says, like, I just want to help people. Like, that's the first thing people say. Like, what do you want to do? I just want to help people. Yes, I think that everybody, like, that's very genuine and people want to help people. But there's, like, I love that she asked you to be like, okay, wait a second, but like, what else? You can't just build yourself on helping other people. You have to, like, know what you contribute and who you are and what your value is. And your value isn't just about helping somebody else. It can't just be that.
And even with crafts, like, do you just love doing crafts? I was like, no, I actually don't want to just be doing crafts by myself and like
in your basement with no, yeah.
I was like, no, like I want it to be an experience and a show. Like I want to uplift people with just like a tool,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want, like you have like all the different parts. It's like you need the production aspect of it too.
Oh,
like
yeah.
You need it to be theatrical. It needed to be a show. Can't just be like, we're doing a craft.
And people always say, but could you just come and like, okay, we don't want the whole show. Like, we just come and do it.
And you're like, no. What? Like you don't want the show?
And also the main part helps. Like the costume really helped. Whatever. Actually, I didn't want to bring it up, but recently I was talking to a healer because like the weirder someone is, the better for me. Like the crazier things they say, right?
Oh, you're talking to the right person.
I know. So this lady, I called her in Israel. I wasn't feeling good. And she's like, yeah, you had some lead from a project. And then she's like, you don't happen to work with duct tape, do you? No, from Israel. She never met me before. My first phone call with her. And I'm like, what? What?
My whole life is duct tape.
I'm like, duct tape? I eat duct tape practically. She's like, well, you've overexposed yourself, it seems like. And duct tape has a considerable amount of lead. And you have to stop having contact with it. And I said, I'd rather die.
I can't breathe. Oh my God.
Well,
but for real though.
This lady constantly, because she's like, are you still doing duct tape? And I'm like, I slow down and I'm just wearing, she's like, no, Mushky, it's on your body. And I now buy the one that's officially not lead and but basically what I've come to realize, I'm like, I'm not going through a depression. Like this is my baby. This is my life, my outfits. But like, I had to call up other healers to heal from this healer.
The trauma. How dare come for my duct tape.
Yeah, and I'm like, but Hashem wouldn't do that to me. And like, I was like, for bringing in, people were crying about like, like really serious things. And I started crying, like, what's going on? I want to take my duct tape away. And they were really sad for me. I'm like, you're joking, right?
No, because if you know you, like, this is not just.
You know means a lot. But basically what I've come to realize is like this middle path of like, no, Hashem's trying to show you, you are not just duct tape. Hashem's opening up. There's more for you. Like, don't be defined by it. Don't be this. So I still will come in the, just the outfit and I'll always wear stuff underneath. I try my best, and I have like little detoxing thing after.
Yeah.
But it's actually funny because I just did an event recently, and the mother of the shlucha was very she's very like crunchy, and she's like, "You don't get sick from the duct tape." Was the first person that ever
Such
said
a
that.
smell. Yeah.
And I was like, well, how do you know? And she's like, just smell it, like you wear it. And I was like, oh,
Toxic.
like this lady's not so crazy, like.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
I've come to is that Hashem's like, there's a path opening, like you're more than this. There's more there out there for you. Don't feel like, it's kind of very safe. People always say like, you're so confident. You like come out in a duct tape outfit. And I'm like, it's kind of the opposite. Like,
It's like, that's your safety.
it's my safety. Like, I don't have to think of what to say because like I have my whole duct tape speech and I have a slideshow that goes along with it.
Yeah. Wow. But I do think like if you see where your life is taking you, a lot of other avenues are opening up. So I think you're ready to.
Yeah. If Javi Brooke thinks I'm
You're ready. I think you're ready. Not to like chas v'shalom. Like we're not divorcing you from your duct tape. Like that's not happening. But I do think like you have so many things ready and like happening for you. So like you have, okay, so that's why I got confused with, because you have another show going on right now.
So yeah, they actually was a short little show, but they said it was so successful, thank God. So they want to continue it.
What was the show? It was like crafting with your family? Like what?
It was games,
Games.
They're trying to figure out like, what does the world need?
I think what's happening is people are looking for the antidote to technology. It's like, we went so far off the deep end with our technology. Like, how are we bringing ourselves back to community, to interaction, to things without, like you see influencers now having phone-free parties, right? Because we're starting to realize that we need to like do something about this. It's becoming a problem. So maybe that's feels like a very appropriate, like, oh, let's games with your family, right? Put down your phone, have fun with the people that you love, make connections. So it feels like that.
Yeah, and that's something actually my family, Ayla, like we will not have a family party without a game. And in the bungalow colony every week, all the ladies, like
you guys were like for sure the like most fun family. Like everyone wants to be there.
Yeah, we do try to make it fun. I think we do value that at the end, at the end of the day, that's what you have. And we try to make it exciting for the kids, and it's not always the big things. So it felt natural when they asked us. It didn't feel like we're even like putting on a show. We're like,
right, this is what you do.
The kids know the games. Obviously, had to be a little more, cleaner and set. But it felt good. So, but we film more in like 1 or 2 days. It doesn't take over. We edit, editing. But yeah, those are more like side fun projects.
But those are like the seeds. Like it's gonna be bigger. Like it's like, as you can see, like, oh, this was so successful. Like we want to do it again. Like it's happening. Like these things are happening. And you have craft kits.
Yes.
Tell me about that, because
so
I'm the opposite of you in the craft realm. Like I hate crafting.
I hear you. I
hate it.
I
understand. you say craft and I'm just like, I'm going to cry. And even like there's certain like craft kits that have been around and I'm like, are they 100%? Can they do it on their own, or do they need a mother's help? Because if they need my help, I'm not doing it. Like I'm not buying it.
No, I hear you 100%. So it was kind of made for you, Chavie.
I think so.
If you're even crafts definitely like bring a strong feeling. Mm-hmm. Some people like hate it. Some people are like, I am not like going near it. Also, there's so many mess ups that could happen and spills and things gone wrong. And the ladies put so much work into it and you bought the wrong glue. So many people call me up. They're like, we tried doing it ourselves and it was a total disaster. And
then if you have a kid who's a perfectionist and freaks out when something goes wrong, and then this whole thing that you want to do together, and it's a bonding experience, and it's just craft, but like turns into such a nightmare because they can't handle like messing up or it not working, or so then I'm like, I get scared because I'm like, am I ready for this? And it's so interesting because my 8-year-old is like this. She really, really struggles with messing up. And
Whenever I
She's
watch
getting better.
her, I'm like, that kid is so cute. She can do whatever she wants. Like,
Really. And she's also very artistic. So I really am like, I'm not so crafty and I don't like to do the projects, but I'm really good about letting her do stuff. And first of all, she does it whether like every single door in our house has like graffiti. Like, I don't even care. The walls, the doors, like I just gave up. And she can make a mess. She does these elaborate things that are usually end up being pretty destructive, like glue and staples and things like escalate. But I'm like, fine, like do your creativity. But when it's like a structured thing, like for a while, she was trying to do like she would watch like the clip and do the drawing, like how to draw. And she would make a wrong move and forget it. The papers was ripping, the iPad went flying, like complete meltdown. So I was like, no, she'll ask to do it. And I would say, no, like you can't handle it. And neither can I. but then you also want them to be able to explore, right? You don't want to like, no, you can't do it because you can't handle messing up. So it's such a like interesting
but
thing
you're
to
talking about
navigate.
kids. Adults have these meltdowns also.
Really?
We sell our two first kits, the tambourines and the clay art that we sell. They're really geared for adults.
Yes.
Adults. We're coming out with a new line of more bas mitzvah projects that age, but it's not a one kit. It's more of an event.
Right.
We want to sell it for like our target audience is someone that's organizing an event and wants it to look elevated and beautiful and have all the little pieces, but like in all the right supplies. Don't have to run out 600 times to buy something. And we like researched it and done it already, so many times. And it comes with a video and you just like take it out. But still, there are ladies, I see it because when I go to events, I'm always like, okay, there's those few ladies that really cannot handle messing up. And let's say with the clay, with the tambourines, it's actually right here, you're just adding beautiful elements on top. With the clay, you're creating something from nothing. And even though we show them, we have cookie cutters that like it doesn't have to be perfect because you'll cookie cut it at the end. Like I say, you need faith. Hold on, ladies, you need that faith. It will come out beautiful. But because they don't see that right away, they're like, it's not working out. And then they're like, catch themselves like, oh my gosh, like I feel
I'm a toddler.
No, and I'm really there to assure them, like, no, it will fine. It will work out. But that's why we're very careful to like foolproof it. Like no matter what, you really cannot. That's like one of our criteria. It has to be beautiful. It can't be messy. It can't move furniture, and has to be in one sitting. And you do not need any talent. After a paint night, I kind of feel bad about myself because I can't paint. People think I could paint and I'm embarrassed because they're like, let's see yours. And I'm like, But with crafts, you really don't need any talent. So many people are like, they call up, I'm not crafty. Will I be able to do it? And like, I'll say there's actually 4 videos. There's like a long version for you if you want to know. There's like shorter versions you could show the people. There's, different angles, but like you can call me. I think when I tell people like you can call me no matter what, like whatever questions. And I think it's a lot of like this anxiety and then they like calm down.
Like, oh, I can ask you questions. Like you're actually going to be accessible.
Yeah, I'm accessible. Like I take it very seriously. And I tell people like, ask me questions like with the setup, with this, they're always like, I know it's such a stupid, it really brings out people's insecurities. Like, I know it's such a stupid question, but like, can I roll it on this? And I'm like, nothing's a stupid question. Like absolutely nothing. I've done it so many times. Like ask me because like, thank God we have the answers, but like so many people are like, okay, I've seen enough people do it. Now I feel ready. Like, I think I could lead it.
Right. What are some of the craziest questions you've gotten? Like, have you ever had a question where you're just like, oh boy, this is trouble?
When it comes to like, I don't know, like Baruch Hashem, I'm really not like judging.
You're not very alarmed. Yeah, you're not like.
In the beginning, I hold my breath. Even though I test it out with the kids, I have kids come for craft school and I test it out because I need to see. I need to see before. Like my word is very important to me. So like, I don't want to rush something. And then like we actually, in one kit, we did have a problem with the glue and then we switched it right away. I tested it out, but there was a chemical reaction after 6 months, so craft is definitely like, there's a lot of things that go into it. And before I do it, I also, people are like, oh, you have the idea. Could it come out, next month? And I'm like, no, we test it out for like a year. Like we have it sitting, see if it falls apart.
No way. That's very, very impressive and
Yeah,
thorough.
but still, like, yeah, I told you with this glue, I had something sitting on my wall for 6 months and it was fine. After 6 months, there was this, like chemical reaction with the glue and, the clay. So we quickly switched it. So we really try our best and and yeah, like I as I said, like I take it very seriously. I want to make sure we're like really sending the best things. And I want to see like where are kids having a hard time, what are they more excited about, how long does it take. I want to like have all the answers, but still when we send it out for the first time, I feel like it's a kid going out on a date. Like I wait up
Mhm.
for those schlufflights, and some of them are in California. I'm waiting up till 3 a.m. and like I'll be here with you, ask me any questions if you had, how'd it go.
That's how you build like integrity and trust and like customer service. Like that's the key because I know for me, like I'm not a craft person. So if I were to bring a craft to like my community, I'm going to be freaked out because I'm like, I don't know how to do this. But if I had a situation where I'm like, okay, like I can call Mushki, like something, it will be okay, we'll be fine. Like I feel supported. I think that that's where it's at.
And that type of person, the ones that are the most nervous, the biggest high they come after, they don't stop texting. Oh my gosh, I did it. And the ladies loved it. And they're amazing. They said it was so good. And they're like, what? I don't care. And they tell me like, when's your next project coming out? We don't care what it is. Like
Yes.
we're there. And I
Yes.
think they also feel so good. Like it's all about building confidence. I think when people like, they see, we kind of like pull out the inner artist inside them. Even the ladies, like I used to do it with kids for years. When I do duct tape, I would going all over. And I've been doing it with kids, showing them how to make something from nothing, especially from tape. I love that. And the kids feel so good, but there's something
Yeah.
really special about doing it with women because they're like, my kids like are not going to believe I made this. They'll say things like, I can't believe I did it. And I feel like obviously words of affirmation, it's amazing, but you could tell someone like, you're amazing, you're creative, you're this, but there's nothing like just seeing
Being
like
the product.
seeing the product, and then they come home and people are like, oh my God, we actually hung it up.
Yeah. Wow, that's really incredible, but definitely set yourself a really high
Oh, it's
standard
it's not.
and a high bar. Like all the things you mentioned, it has to be doable in one sitting and it can't mess with any of the furniture. It has to be like all these things you listed.
Yeah,
I'm like,
we already ordered something that was gonna have alcohol ink, like a beautiful project for bus mitzvahs. And we were like, we're ordering the gloves and we were thinking, aprons. And then someone told me like, oh, what if it gets on the floor? Like, so we're like, no, like, so now we pivoted and we're doing something
mm,
different when like we can't damage. Yeah. So a lot people are like, oh, just a craft. Or people always call me up like, hey, Mishki, you want to do an event? Could you come up, just come up with a craft?
you're like, are you kidding me? Do you know how long this
Just
takes and the
come with the
research?
project. They're like, oh, and it's next week. And also, obviously, nothing comes on demand.
Yeah.
So even though I'm spontaneous when it comes to projects, like I think with every art though, people say, could you just come and, I know I have a friend, she's an amazing singer, Zaldi, and we're like, could you just come and sing? I feel like an artist when you tell them, could you just, and name their project, their thing, could you just come and speak? It's like the biggest, like, I don't know, insult trigger. It just like shows like, or maybe it's just like, it's like an ignorance. No one knows what goes into it. Also, because I think the better you are at it, the more seamless you make it. You make it seem like, I don't know why. Also, I love emceeing. I just think there's a beauty in it, and people don't realize. Like, I once took a little course on it, how like it strings the whole evening together. There's something I love about it, but
So important. It's so
it's
important.
it's not a normal amount of work. So I make it seem fun. People are like, could you MC? And I was like, what?
Do you
Like,
know how much work this takes?
yeah, and also I have this other pet peeve. Like, I just like all of a sudden I became like, no, like, why do we read from a paper? I know it's so hard to not read from a paper, but like, why can't we just talk? So like, I have the standard of like not reading totally from a paper, so then I'm memorizing it for hours. People are like, could you just come? I'm
It's so much effort. I think you nailed it. I think it looks seamless and it looks like it comes so naturally and the talent is natural, but people don't realize how much effort goes into perfecting and excelling at the talent that you have naturally. And I relate because I do speak in public and I don't have like I'm okay on stage. Like it's not like I'm stage fright and but there's so much preparation. There's so much you have to be in such a mindset. You have to be strong enough and grounded enough to be in the energy of the room and accept the energy that comes back from the crowd and be able to like really show up. Like those things are not little. Like it takes an incredible amount of intention and work. And so I can imagine for us, like a singer, what's the big deal? You have your voice, just sing. But to put your voice out there in the public is not just, oh, just do it.
I find myself guilty with other people. I'm like, oh, could you just take picture? Like then I'll be like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I capture myself. Could you just,
right.
you're so funny.
Because it's natural to like, oh, you do this. You're good at this. Like, just do it.
You have to like turn on. There's a whole process of
to turn on 100%. And I think that's what makes very intentional, empathetic humans is when you understand an experience and then now you have the ability to put yourself in that person's shoes. So of course it's natural to be like, oh, could you just do this? But then you're like, oh, I actually know how much effort that goes into it. And then you treat it accordingly. I think it's the same like that when someone goes through a really, really tough challenge or life circumstance, it all of a sudden opens your eyes and makes you so much more sensitive to what's going on around you. I found that for myself.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. So.
Oh, my sister said if it's 2 hours, they're not listening.
Well, then they don't have to listen. They're lost.
I tell them, two things. They're like, I didn't even tell me this, but I know if like we don't mention the sisters chat, I will get thrown off my own chat. Like,
of course we're mentioning the sisters chat, like obviously.
And like,
we're getting there.
But like, I think when we started our podcast, they're like, we're going to keep it really short, 45 minutes the most. And then I think we realized like it takes time to things to.
Let me tell you.
Naturally.
Let me just tell you.
Yes.
Okay. I get a lot of pushback for how long my podcast is. We are going to talk about this. Now, listen.
Well, not on my podcast because it's going to take longer.
Nope. You asked for it. Okay. Now I'm going to do it really fast. No. Listen. Not fine. You don't want to listen to 2-hour podcasts. That's okay. There are so many different reasons and purpose for to have a podcast. And there's so many podcasts out there. Let's be real. It's a very saturated market. There's so many, there's a podcast for everything. So you're going to have to find the thing that works for you. There's times where I do feel like, oh my gosh, like nobody's going to listen because it's 2 hours long. But I feel like it's just about, first of all, educating your audience about what you're doing. And second of all, it's like, there's reason for podcasts to be 45 minutes or an hour, or even there's 20-minute podcasts. Like, I don't even know how it's maybe just like a Parsha, like overview, 20 minutes or whatever. That's not what I'm here to do. So I just had to get really, really comfortable with what I want to be doing. And I want to be having these long form conversations that have layers, that take time, that get you to where like that give you like.
I even just feel now my body like just relax.
Yeah.
Like.
Exactly. And
you're still like.
I don't feel like the conversations that I want to have can happen in 45 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
No, I didn't believe it as much until we started it. And we're like, oh no, like, and the good part only comes at the end, like that good energy and you're relaxed. You're like, okay, there's a flow to it. We get it.
So, and the thing that is interesting to me, like, I feel like so many people see like 2 hours.
A lot of people mention?
Oh, for sure. It's mentioned all the time. And they see like 2 hours, like, oh my God, I can never listen to it. But I'm like, you don't have to listen to it in one sitting, like you don't have to sit down and be like, now I'm listening to a podcast. It's something that you put on when you're doing carpool, you put on when you're cooking in the kitchen. You don't have to, sometimes it
also catches you. Like you can always go back. You don't have to find the spot. Like it shows.
Yeah, it picks up where you leave off.
It's funny how angry people get. I remember like a few people telling me like on Instagram when I started talking, they're like, I like listening to you, but like you talk so slow. And I'm like, but you're still here. Like, so don't listen.
You're still here. You must like me enough.
And they're like, it was just fun.
It's
angry,
obviously
you feel the need to tell.
They have to tell you. And also like you put yourself out there. So you're opening yourself up for everyone having an opinion on what you do and how you do it. And it's just like, it takes me days to sometimes get through somebody's podcast because it is long, but I've learned in my life to really understand me and what I feel like I'm supposed to contribute to the world. And it doesn't mean, and it's not like, oh, my way is the best way. It's just, that's the best way for me.
No, I think you're really a master at that, Chavie.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I think slowly but surely people are getting a little bit less scared of the time. Like I keep talking about it and then like, it's okay. I'll hold your hand. Like you can do this, press play, turn it off after 20 minutes if you need a break or you're busy. Like it doesn't this. And I also am intentionally like, I have a very big issue personally with like the instant gratification, everything being fast, everything being like you want to share something with an audience, you have to have it under 60 seconds.
Yeah, quick, let's go get the whole
I'm really
out.
fighting. I really am fighting that. Like
this is like the mission underneath. Like,
well, not really, but like it is inherently. I always talk about this. Like I'm going to repeat it again, but I don't know. We can cut it out. Ellie could cut it out. Ellie, you could cut it out if you don't like it. But like the double timing, the voice notes, and
no, I've heard.
You've heard me say this. Like, what's your rush? Like, slow it down.
I understand it, and sometimes I'll find myself being like, and I really heard it, and then I'll be like, I'll give myself no time, like
100%. And that is,
I think it was a good thing to be conscious about.
It's so. I think there's value to that.
And then I'll listen back to myself and I'll be like, oh, and I really do speak really slow. Okay, please. And I'll tell people just double speak, you know?
But I feel like that's the thing. Like there's times where double speed is just like God sent. You're in a time crunch. You need to hear the thought.
Right. It's almost like if you're like in college, you need to get all the information.
Yeah. But for me in my life, when I'm voice noting with people, half the like importance is their expression, the inflection, like, and then you double speed and you miss all of that. You're just hearing words. You're not actually hearing the tone of voice, the way the person's speaking, their intention behind it.
Right. You're voice noting so you don't have like the miscommunication through text. I like, since there's so many miscommunications, like when I text.
100%. Like texting is hard to get your intention behind your point. Sometimes texting can be so like cold and harsh. And it's just like, no, like hear my voice. This is what I mean when I'm saying this. But then when you double speed it, you lose that. But no, I'm maturing and I understand that there's a reason for double speed and it's a good thing to have. But I just ask people to just reflect on themselves. Like, is it now just like a habit? And now you've trained your mind to not be able to hear a regular speed conversation because you're so used to double speeding everything that now maybe that's why that person thinks that you talk so slow, because maybe she's listening to everything on double speed. And so compared to double speed, you're slow, but it's just a regular way of talking. So just be aware and intentional of why you're doing it. Is it necessary? Maybe like go back and forth. Maybe don't always do it. So you are training we've trained our brain and our mind to have zero attention span and like zero patience and zero like things to take time, and all for the sake of productivity, right? We want to be productive. You want to output. But then we're kind of missing the point a little.
You are such an old soul.
I'm an old soul. I belong in the 1800s.
You and Anne of Green Gables and all the way.
It's so true. My sisters make fun of me all day. They're like, you belong in the 1700s. Like without technology, without like all the stuff, like living your life on the farm. I just don't want to do like laundry at the river. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, that we can
that I'll take the washing machine. I like conveniences for sure, but there is an old soul about me. Like I really reject and struggle with the things that modern technology sometimes brings and the things we lose from it. I'm not saying, listen, like I said, I don't want to be grinding my own wheat and doing my laundry by the river with stones.
It's funny, I see you still like online shopping. For me, like I'm like, no, like
I hate online shopping.
But you do it.
I do it because I live in Montana. Like
me, I'm like, I can't online. Like I'll go into the store. Like,
you know, like I never get a grocery delivery. I've never gotten a grocery delivery in my life. Well, my husband does a grocery shopping, so I probably should say that. But I don't do like
that doesn't match up. I hate, like I need to feel it. And
I like in the store. I love shopping, but I like to shop in the store. I like to see things, but I live in Bozeman, Montana. I live in a small town. So there's things that I have to get online. But even like for me, shopping on Amazon is horrible because I don't get it for 10 days. It's not like instant gratification even then. like Amazon takes a week to 10 days to get here. So like if I'm making an event and I need something last minute and they don't sell it in Bozeman, like I'm in trouble. Like I'm a last minute person in the sense of like where we were talking before about like inspiration happens at the last second. I was like planning my Hanukkah party and it was like 2 days before and my husband's like, what's the menu? And I'm like, it hasn't come to me yet. I'm like, I need to be cooking. And meanwhile, the menu hasn't come to me yet. So I really relate to that. But if I want to have what I need to create the vision that I want, I have to think about it 3 weeks in advance because I won't have what I need.
That's tough.
Like I don't have like, just go to Kingston or just go to
this.
Yeah.
That's why like, I'm not going anywhere. We are staying right here.
I wanted to ask you how the transition to New York was. Well, because you grew up in Crown Heights, right? So how was it coming back with a family as an adult? Did you find yourself like falling back into old patterns or was it like whole new and fresh? How was it having family close by? Like, I want to hear all of that.
So it's funny. So everyone assumes like I was the one that want to move back because
no, but you said clearly you did not.
Like I'm so close to my family and I love my family. We get together and people see me with my family and the first comment is, how did you live away for so long? Because they're always running there. But at the same time, like I'm still that artist, middle child that when I moved to LA, like
space,
I feel like there was space and I feel like I got to like grow.
Be yourself.
And like, I remember like I was just teaching in the school and helping out with the shluchas. And I heard my sister being like, what's it like to not work? I'm like, no, I'm still working, but not doing 10 things. And people were like, just really appreciating what I had to offer. And I felt like I'm also the seventh, my husband's the oldest. So like people were like, I'm like, what? Like they were taking my advice and asking me things. Like the principal was.
And all of a sudden you're like, what? My opinion matters?
I'm
like,
shocked every
what?
time. Like Mrs. Bookett, like would like ask me advice and said, what? Me? Like, and then they would listen and I'm like, oh my gosh, people listen to me. Like, so that was just like really like refreshing. And
I think it was so important for your like,
yeah. And I think Hashem,
right? Like you said, like becoming a butterfly, like you needed that space to be you outside of the configuration that Hashem put you, like you needed to have
and I
space
always, who I always relate to when, people say, who do you want to meet when Mashiach comes? I always say like David HaMelech, because like when I heard how like Eli would like, he like came and he's like, oh, one of the sons is going to be crowned. And he's like, goes to the oldest, obviously. My sister's so talented. And then like my brother who's Rosh Yeshiva. And he's like, nope. And he goes down the line and they're like, what, her? Like,
yeah,
not her. Like,
yeah.
So that's like kind of like how I felt. And all of a sudden, like, I don't know, I just felt like I really grew into a, like my own person. So going back, my body was like, forget, like, no, like obviously my
that's
head.
What I would imagine. Like there's some
in my head, like I wanted to be back and be close and I went for the summers, but I did some sort of, I was like panicking every time. And I was just like, I don't want to go back to that 7-year-old self who like, whatever my sisters tell me I'm going to do, obviously. And there's not even a choice. Like whatever my father, like I love him dearly, but he wants me to get his degree because he loves me and he wanted me not to struggle. And he told me like, if you do not get your degree, I will take away all your duct tape.
Oh my God.
And I got my degree. And every morning he'd like be like, let's go. And I was, doing it on my own, the test for my.
What's your degree in?
In special ed.
Oh, wow.
Which is a beautiful thing to, to have anyways. And I, it was definitely the right path, but in LA, I wasn't even using it anyways, because, it's only through public school. The thing I really love just teaching in a regular classroom. I don't really get my energy from one-on-one, whatever. But I just had that fear and I was like, no, I don't want to go back. And I love, I just didn't want to fall back into that losing myself. And then I came back and guess what happened? I took a job that my sister told me to do, even though I said I don't want to do it. And I was following the script. I said, I'm not going to do.
See, this is what I was asking. I knew I was on to something.
Javi, you're always on to something. You're exactly on
always on to something.
I should just not, you should just ask. And that's what happened. And I just was like beating myself up. Like I saw all the signs. I saw it coming. And I'm still like doing that. And, but then when I came to New York, I was doing more of like, the crafts and influencing. And my family was just like, what are you doing? Like, what is this thing? And like, like when I would do a poll on Instagram, like, do you want to see more of this or nah? Like it was one of my brothers being like, nah, like,
Nah.
like, and they'd be like, wait, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make money. It doesn't like this, and you need to make money. Like, you don't have that luxury. And they're like, what is going on? And, I tell you, I have my whole support team. And I remember talking to like this like dear friend who's an emotion coder. And she was like, I was like, how do I explain what I do? And she's like, Mushky, just stay in your lane and your power and just say, like, don't explain it. Just say, like,
don't explain it.
It's not making money right now. And it's not a direct thing, but say you're just spreading love, laughter, and cheer. I remember being like, love, laughter, and cheer. And it sounded so stupid. Like, I'm just spreading. But then all of a sudden, like, it's really crazy what happens, ladies out there, when you really stay, like authentic to yourself, and you really stay in that. And even though it's hard and it's not money making it for, and you stay and you really try to stay authentic to who you are and just do it without any benefits coming in. Yeah. It was really the one of the most beautiful things in my life is that really everyone did start coming around.
You had to trust yourself and you had to stay in your truth. And you had to be confident in it. And then people come around because they realize.
It's not, they realize, and people heard from others and they're like, Mushky, people actually listen to what you said. My friend was like, she was laughing. She told me, people really listen. And I was just like, I wasn't even like, I told you. I was like, I just kept being, I don't know. And then like I started, the summer content, and we posted that reel, got 150,000 views. And like my sister was like, she was still so confused. She's like, I help people get their degree. Like she's like, thank God, really like such a community member. She gets girls through their regions and real stuff she helps people with. And like people would see her and be like, you don't know how much you changed my life. And she's assuming it's from what she did. And they're like, your summer content just like got me through the hardest of times. And like, every week I wait for you. And now they see, and then they come around, and it was like their idea, like my sister Ava's idea to do this podcast. It wasn't even me forcing anyone. And I'm like, wait, and they all came, and every week we get to do this podcast together. And this became like the family thing that people are talking about it. And my brothers are like, oh my gosh, we're known for the Brothers of the Sisters chat. And it's like such a testament to me that like, even the people that you think will least turn around and see them. And I think it's when you stop waiting for them. You stop waiting. Like I was trying to prove. And like, I remember like, anytime I saw a sibling in my family, I'm like, and I make this much money this month. And Kusher actually pay me. And I know I'm really getting paid. And this time it actually covers my supplies. And like trying to prove like, no, and it probably wasn't because like I spend more and I don't even do the numbers, but like, I just kept trying to prove what I do is worthy of like your approval. And then I was just like, forget it. Like, I don't even know if you'll ever make money. I don't even know. Like what I saw was talking about being a mother, even though it doesn't make sense. It wasn't even about money anymore because when I was going through this, like, it wasn't just like sadness when I was losing myself. There was so much anger. I thought I was the happiest person ever. And then all this anger came up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm one of these angry people. This is gross. And I was so embarrassed of all the anger that was coming up. And it was really like, and people are like, oh my gosh, she's such a fun loving person. And then that shame, because I'm like, oh my gosh, they saw.
They don't really know me. If they only knew.
Yeah. And anytime I did emotion code, like, because, you feel like you're a fraud and a this and a that. And it was just like too much. But then I saw this literally direct connection. The more I was being myself, the anger just started like literally down. Like it was just like this like direct correlation. More myself, less anger. Like this therapist told me, she's like, I don't care what, you cannot scream though. You can't scream at your kids. Like do whatever you need to do. Like, but then like, I don't know, like I almost feel like those people from like, the 12-step program, like I could really say like, I'm like,
I don't need to scream.
Yeah. Like 12 months of screaming free. Even if it's to kids, it's not this like anger from like the depths of your heart that you're like, oh my God, if someone would video that, like I can't move into a building, like this is scary, that anger. And I really think that anger is, I bought all these books and signed up to all these things to like figure out like, because anytime I would do any healing, like, wow, there's so much, anger on bottom. I was like, well, but I'm doing so much. No, there's still more. And they told me like anger is really, there's something really there. And there's creativity, but obviously there's other routes to heal yourself. But what I found is the best pill is just leaning more into the authentic you, no matter what anyone tells you and sees you. And this amazing rabbi that I spoke to once, and I would continue speaking to her in there. He said, Mushky, just remember, you're like a very tall building. You're like a skyscraper. People close to you, you can't see the greatness or how high you are because you're close.
Yeah.
So like, just keep, so I had that little reinforcement, just keep doing. And I don't think I've arrived there at all yet. I definitely think I'm like, I have that reassurance, like I'm on the path, and now doing this sort of path, like together with my family and everyone on board I feel like there's not much more I could even ask for.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty ultimate. I really am happy that you mentioned that, because I truly believe that. And I've seen that in all different like healing modalities that I've touched upon, is when we are not in true alignment with our soul, and we're not in true alignment with what we're supposed to be contributing to the world and who we are and what our gifts are and what our, like who we are at our core, that causes misalignment in our body, which then causes emotional distress and physical distress. So really, like if you ever tapped into like Bach flowers or emotion code or homeopathy.
Wait, you said something that I don't know, and please don't tell me, because I cannot take another job what's Bach flower? Don't tell me. Don't.
No, I'm going to tell you, because you know what it is. Like, have you ever heard of like Rescue Remedy?
Yeah, of course.
So that's made from like, those are like flower essence.
Okay.
So there's like a lot of different ones. And Rescue Remedy is the most popular,
of course.
But you know what it is. So you don't need anything new.
Yeah, there's like a kosher version of it.
Yeah. But what it is that you start to work with any healer that is interested in your full self and your full body, physical and emotional and spiritual, not just one avenue. There's not like Western medicine has its place, but the problem with Western medicine is that it's very focused on the one thing that you're struggling with, and it's hard to get the whole picture. But if you're working with somebody who sees you as a whole, the core way to healing is to be in touch with who you are and to balance out the things that are not balanced. So there's something if you're feeling a certain ailment, it's because something's off balance. How do you get back into flow, back into balance? And it's exactly what you said. Of course, it's there's physical things and there's all those things that have to come along with it. But the core of it is really leaning into like who you are.
And I think also like taking action in that. Like you
exactly.
could talk about it, being myself.
Exactly.
Like, do
the things that you might feel shame about because people are judging you for, or, your family is like not on board, or this is not on board, or that looks crazy, or that looks weird, or like, oh my gosh, I'm going to say that my dream is to be a Disney princess. Like, no, well, that's part of getting back into alignment, which is such a like, almost like an aha moment type experience. Like, oh, and it's, you shared it so beautifully.
And I'm really dangerous to be around now because I see it in other people. Like I'll see someone and they're like walking and their feet are heavy. Like I had someone, a neighbor, and she was like, oh, and this and that. And I'm like, you have to quit your job. Like now you're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong. And then she actually.
You're very sensitive.
I'm very sensitive.
You became
like,
very
no,
sensitive
it's not
to energy.
They're complaining about their kids. They're complaining about their husband. I'm like, you are in the wrong lane. You're not being you. Like, what do you look to do? And they're like, what? No, it's my back. And I'm like, it's nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Speak your truth. And then like this person's like, she comes to me, she's like, Mushky, I quit my job. And I'm like, what? No.
Don't listen to me.
Don't really. I'm like, don't really listen to me.
I know.
And yeah, now like she's doing what she loves to do and everything's lighter. And like, I just see random people on the street and I want to like tap them and be like, you're not like, stop working in that job just because like
you have to.
It's been convenient.
Wow. That's pretty incredible. But I do want to talk about, I don't want to be on your sister's bad side. But anyway, let's get to the sisters chat. I am so like, I want to hear how it's all about it, how it started, who's in charge, how do you make it work? My biggest question is like, okay, How many are you on? Five sisters?
We're 6 sisters. My oldest sister, Rania, was like,
comes in and out.
She comes in and out, and she's like, she really like, it is a really big time commitment. And she like, Baruch Hashem, she's a bubby, and she just had a baby, and she has like 300 people every Friday night. It's like, it's a huge and also you have jobs. You can't just, on the sisters chat, you either have to do, there's editing, there's the posting, there's,
Okay, so break it down. Like, I want to hear, like, how did it start? Did it really start from the summer content? I feel like that's how it started.
Yeah, no, pretty much like what you see is kind of what you get. Well, my sister Ayla's really a high achiever, and like she does a lot and is as present as she seems. And she was like, okay, like, she's always been ahead of the game. Like she's been doing what 50-year-olds do at like 25, 30. Like, and she's like, okay, I feel like I caught up with myself. I'm ready to take on something new. Like maybe I'll open up a new business or something. And then when she saw like how much feedback the summer content was getting from everywhere, like, we have this guy like that sells us appliances, and he sent my sister the reel of us all in the bungalow, like that we all share one bungalow. And he sent it to her. He's like, how do you know this is me? He's like, what? This is you? He's like, it's just been sent around my family chat.
No way.
I'm like, oh, it sounds like you. You said you share a bungalow with your sisters. I didn't realize this is actually.
Wow, that's hilarious.
This is like actually you. And she was like, and there's so much like just pop. We did this Kingston crawl in Kingston, and all different ages. We're just like.
But I think what is really incredible about your content also is like, it's so funny. And it's also like saying the things that nobody wants to say. Like, who's going to open the bungalow? Like, who's going to do it? And like, it's just so relatable and so funny.
We're talking about those glasses that see opportunity. Most of them are based on a true story, but like a true story that happened 2 seconds ago. Like my mother's like, well, who's going to open it? My sister's like, well, Mushky never opens it. And I'm just like, oh.
Got it.
That's good content. My husband's like, stop, like there's no time for reels. And I'm like, wait, could you just repeat that?
Repeat it for the reel that there's no time for.
It's never as good. It's never as good.
Yeah.
As it is. So and then people saw there was so much interest, and we really just saw it was bringing people so much joy, and it wasn't really about what we're saying. No one's coming for us for so much life advice. There's so many podcasts out there. It wasn't about what one person has to say. It was really just seeing the joy of siblings together. And obviously, someone's like, you're trying to depict the perfect family. I'm like, have you listened to it? Like, we're really not. Right. We're really not. And my father, it's funny. He's like, he's like, I just get so much nacha seeing like girls that are all 25 together. Years apart, just figuring out your schedules and making the time to like
There's nothing more exciting for a parent to see their kids like doing stuff together and loving each other. So good.
So, and a lot of times there's, there is a lot of, what's it called? People say they love the most, the friskiness. What's it called? Like
I know what you're talking about. The
banter.
Banter. Yeah.
The banter. And just seeing like sisters and they feel like they're in on it, like they just feel like that they're part of the family. It's really, talking about editing. It's annoying to edit. We really don't edit out a lot. It's really pretty.
True.
We were going to send it to someone. But then we're like, they don't know what we want in and out. And I was shocked because that reel, I was like forcing everyone, like, could you please be in it? Because I'm not wearing a shade, I'm not being in it. And it was so much work. And like, and I don't know, like.
They have you to thank for this.
Ayla took charge of it because she was like, okay, I was ready to take on something. So this is it. And she stayed up hours upon hours. She has more time than anyone else in the day. And she stayed up learning all the systems and Riverside and how to export it. And she did the research. And my husband did the research on the mics. And it was also like, it became this whole family like project.
It's so cool.
I didn't like believe it. And first, like.
You guys are made for it though. Like yours, it's just so good.
Yeah. And it doesn't, obviously it's work, but it doesn't feel like that unnatural work. Like obviously it's a lot of time. It's more of a time commitment than like
it's a time thing. And like you talk about the editing, like also, if you know my podcast, like it's like what you see is what you get. There's very few editing going on. It's usually like a quality, like sound editing every once in a while, something needs to be taken out. But that's where, like, that's the kind of podcast that I like, right? Where that you're like, it's not crafted, it's not curated to reflect a certain image. It's like really authentic and natural of who you are.
Yeah. I mean, so we try to like make it that it doesn't fall too much because first it was falling like too much on on Ayla, because when she takes charge of something and then Nini's there, we all like to kind of just take a back seat because like that's what we've been doing like our whole life. But now like we take turns, like, every 5 weeks we're trying to get more organized. You find a guest, you think of a few questions, we have more of a schedule time. Obviously things move around, but one person does the editing, I take care of the promotions, or if there's sponsorships coming in. And Hesh is finally was able to log into the back end of Instagram, so she's going to be doing the Instagram. Nini does the posting of the pictures. There's a lot, but now that we like break it up, it's kind
divide
of
and conquer.
Yeah, we divide. So you do a lot. It's a lot of work.
Well, I have a producer, so I'm not doing the editing because this is the thing that I knew because I was doing
yourself.
Podcast, and I know, like we talked about, I belong in the 1700s, which definitely means I don't belong doing editing and technology. And like I had trouble getting on this morning. I mean, it hasn't happened to me in months, but of course today. So I knew that if I was going to do this, like I did need support. Like I was not the one that's like, I can do this by myself. I can navigate tech, I can edit, I can work with sound. Like that is not my strength, in which we talked about, like really lean into your strength. And that is something that I knew that I didn't want to do. And Ellie, who's my producer, does it. And he's like my partner, like he does such an amazing job. And I couldn't do, like I knew, like I couldn't do this myself. That's why I'm always so amazed. Like, thank God there's a lot of you, but when people edit their own podcast, I'm like, how?
And the Riverside site is really hard, and it edits it doesn't load well. It's really slow. Like the whole you don't even know exactly what it's going to sound when you edit it because it's really slow. But we taught everyone how to.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you think like podcasting is so popular that there would be better systems, and there's not.
It's really shocking.
It's crazy. Like when we were researching, I first started on Zoom, and it was just like, because Riverside was actually even worse. I think it got a little better. But it's like the podcasting is like the job of the century, right? And it's just like, how are there not better systems for this? Like it shocks me.
No, and everyone's also like, oh, so like the money aspect. So how much money are you making on it? Because also everyone's doing it like it's so much.
Yeah, well, I don't have to kind of talk to me about that. I'm like, how about negative?
I'm really impressed with you, Chavie, because it is an investment, but
it's huge.
I feel like you do it because
I want to, and I love it,
and you have what to share, and it's really like honoring yourself, like
yes,
and it's nothing 100%. You could really. It's not like a logical explanation. You could like. You're like,
correct.
I'm sharing because
and it's like people are like, what, you needed another full-time job? And I'm like, it's crazy if you think about it, but I love it. It brings me so much joy. I feel, talk about like knowing, I think it also comes with age. Like I'm in my 40s now. Like I really feel like I understand more of like what my purpose, like why I'm here. Like, because there's people that share and there's people who don't share. There's people who are more public and there's people who are not. And I come to understand that the world needs all types. And when somebody who shares and feels the need to share, it's because they're supposed to. And when they don't, right, call about misalignment, when they feel shame around that, or they get shamed for it, or, like it's a misalignment. So a lot of my work has been like understanding that I'm not a loser who needs attention, who wants to share all their like heart and life and whatever. It's just like, I was born to do that.
I think that's the biggest hurdle to get past not
the judgment,
attention,
Yeah.
I like wanted people to take me seriously, but like I had my my siblings saying like, "Oh, Mushky, like she'll pay you to be on her show. Like don't pay her. Like she just needs this."
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's going to get me really far. Thank you.
I know. It's like, and then you feel so like you feel like
it's
really shaming because we view attention as a negative, like you need attention. It's negative. It's selfish and whatever. It's like, there are people born that are born to shine, are born to be in the spotlight, are born that to their life becomes lessons for everybody else. Like it's just that way. And then the people who are not meant to share are meant to work insular or to affect the group around them. Like everybody has what they're supposed to do. And I think we just need to recognize that there's no right or wrong. It's just what was your soul put in this world to do. And not to deny it or shut it down, because then we get sick.
Yeah, no, so that's why it wasn't like it's not even a choice anymore, because like I'm like, I'm
Exactly.
not doing it. I'm not this, attention hogging thing. But then like I'm at home just getting angrier and mad. And then I'm like, and I share something and I'm like, oh, I feel better.
Oh, I'm good
It
now.
popped up on Instagram. Oh, I'm okay now. I actually don't have to go to the doctor.
I really relate, because there's a lot of things that we go through in life that are difficult and that are hard. And actually for me, like when I can share or even process outwardly, like I'm an outward processor, it really helps. Like it helps me get the strength that I need to know what I need to do. It starts not to feel like, if I don't share, for me, it's like feels like a big weight on my chest. It feels like I'm suffocating. It feels like I'm constricted, or I'm like being trapped. And then when I do share, also you have to learn how to share. You have to learn. It's a journey of how to figure out how to share that's healthy and responsible and right for you. But when you figure that out, there's something really, like for me, that's like, this actually helps me. It helps
Right.
me gather the strength that I need. It helps me feel less alone. It helps me feel less trapped and less like, oh, I have to suffer in silence, or nobody can know, or it's a secret. I don't do that. Like that's not for me.
Right. But it seems like you're very past that now. You're like, it's,
Yeah. I've arrived.
yeah, you're right. Yeah. No, so for me, when I what the first thing that helped me get past that, I was filming a video for the Kinnos. The Kinnos HaShochos was like the Matzah Shabbos program, and the guy came to film me. It was a bunch of my friends. We had this like really miraculous Farbrengen, and I thought it was going to take like an hour. Filming takes so long, and
Yeah.
I did one try, and he was like, "Okay," he folded up his thing. I was like, "Wait, but like, don't we do it again?" He's like, "No, you're done." He's like, you're naturally, he's like, "You're weirdly natural on camera." And I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" He's like, "I spent 4 hours trying to get 4 minutes from a lady,
Yeah.
like just the other day." And then I was like, and he's like, "How many people can't handle the spotlight?" And I was like, "Oh, that's when this is
That's when
your
you
gift, when
know.
it's hard for most people, but for you,
It's natural.
you'd rather do that." Like my sister-in-law's friend, we all see blood and we're like, I can't. And she was like, "Blood, delicious." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you're meant to go to, be a doctor. You're becoming a huge
Right.
doctor." So
Yeah.
that was the first thing, but obviously it still always
You
comes up.
even though like I've worked through this so often, like there are the voices, we are conditioned to not take up space, or to hide and not to shine. And those voices will always be there, but the older you get and the more you tap in, like those voices are okay, and you can,
They're kind of more in the back seat. I'm like,
yeah, like, okay, yeah,
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
And I do think, like, I think the more knowledge you have around it and you can tackle this early, the better. But I do think there is something that comes with just stage of life, and, 20s, you care what people think. 30s, you care less. 40s, you're just like, whatever. There is something, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the natural progression of life also contributes to caring less what people think, but it takes a lot of effort. And I really hope that people listen and they just start to see the signs in their life. They start to listen, right? They like what basically full circle, what we started with, like eyes wide open, listen to yourself and the things that make you happy. Look out for the opportunities. Like it's just makes life better.
yeah. I agree. And I'm always like so grateful for the people, because, sharing to nobody doesn't feel good. So I'm always like, people say, "Oh, like, you're so busy." Like, they pass me. "Oh, you don't know who I am, but I watch I just give everyone a hug." I'm like, "Thank you for like being
I
here."
100% agree. First of all, the people who watch, are invested in you and your content, like they're why you're there. So you give them the time of day, number one. You can't do it without them. Second of all, it's really hard to talk into a screen sometimes and not know, is anybody listening? Did it land for anybody? Did it or is it just like noise? And so when people take the time to tell you that they appreciate what you're putting out there and they take the time to message, I know it's like such a stupid cliche thing to say, but I think it needs to be said, because like not a lot of people do it. Not a lot of people really take the time to share how they feel. They share that they listened, share that you mean something to them, share that they love your content. Like it really matters, because it's not fun to talk into Never Never Land, like no one, like we do it for the people. So it's nice when you get some of that feedback. You're like, oh, I'm not talking to my phone. Like I'm not talking to the world, the empty black hole, it's really helpful to know that it's going somewhere.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then I'm always still shocked. I'm like, wait, and you like still, I'm like, wait, you actually
Me too.
listened?
I'm like, what? That's so nice. Thank you so much.
But
Like
the
I'm
numbers,
so
even though like
effusive.
I see numbers in the polls, like, but then a real person will tell me, I'm like, oh, those were people. Like,
Correct. Yeah. Well, this was so much fun having
I
you here. I
know.
know that you have a deadline, but I'm excited to be part of your evolution. I can't wait to see where the podcast goes.
Aw,
You
thank
guys are
you.
so fun. I had one more question about the podcast. Do you because I'm fascinated by having so many people on, like do you think about before like how you navigate conversation, or do you sometimes struggle with like, oh, talking over each other, or that kind of thing, or it just flows very naturally?
So in the beginning, there was like so much editing, just like of us talking over each other. Like
Yeah.
it took a lot, and even just the mic situation, like there was definitely in the first one where like something was off the mic, so we're not putting it out. My sister's like, no, like we're putting it out, we're gonna get better as we go. And people would say, you guys are like talking over each other. And we're like, well, that's actually how it is in real life, but
Right.
you can't really do that on the screen. So Riverside does have now that like you could turn off some people's mics. So you only hear,
Oh, okay.
so there is like that technical thing, like if two people are talking over, you could just, so you'll see, if you're watching, you'll see like one person's mouth moving, but like
You
no
don't hear
actual
them.
sound coming out. But I just think like anything, like as we go, we get better. And some of us are more like, when I do it, I'm like, no, when I'm in charge, I'm like, no, we'll be more flowy, we'll do it. My other sister, she's like, no, like I need the questions like prepared before. But
I was going to ask, do you take turns on who's in charge of an episode and then you lead that episode? Is that how it works?
Yeah. So we take turns hosting every episode. And in the beginning,
Okay.
we were very hosty, and we're like, so Nini, how was your week? Mushky, how was your week? And my husband's like, you guys have no idea how to podcast. Could you please listen to a real
Oh, that's
podcast? Like,
hilarious.
and my
Yeah.
sister's like, yeah, it's like the toast. Like, he's like, could you just talk to each other? So I think we've gotten better also at like, my sister's like, just speak up. Like, if there's a pause, just say your part. But so we have definitely the idea and the questions, but we're all in it that like what comes out the best is more that natural part.
Natural.
But we don't want people to feel like they're wasting their time also. So there definitely is an agenda and a point like we want to bring out, and we think of the topic.
Yeah, you have like very defined topics.
Yeah, and then like if you have a story you want to think of, but like what ends up being the reels like that we like pick out are obviously nothing that was planned. It's just the stuff that ended up like
that's the best stuff. That's the best stuff
coming out. But this way everyone knows, so we have like everyone has like one major, like one big question they ask the host or they get, especially for like my two younger sisters that never asked to be on, they've never like spoken in public, and now we're like, you're in a podcast. So especially, for them, they're like, okay, like what are we talking about? But
what are we doing? Yeah,
but they've even like come such a long way. So we definitely, like have that before each one, and then we have a little meeting. We get on the phone like before, everyone good, everyone set, this one's gonna host, like just to check in, like everyone how we're starting and things like that. So we're definitely still like learning, and it's becoming more, like.
Well, yeah, it is something that you learn, and I'm a year and a half in, and I'm still feel like I'm such a newbie, like
what do you feel like you've learned so much for, like, what advice would you tell us? Like,
that's a really good question. I think, you have such a different setup. Like doing something like as I'm solo, but I just have a guest. But I do think the biggest thing that I have learned is knowing like you are putting yourself out there, and it's not going to be perfect, but it's not even going to be perfect. There are going to be mistakes, and there's going to be things that you wish nobody had to see, and that you want to like you said, oh, we're not going to put out the first episode because, but what I've learned is that you learn from every episode I learn from, and the grit comes from putting it out there, knowing all the flaws, and knowing that like this could have been better and I shouldn't have said this and I could have said that and I could have been I could have talked less here and I could have talked more here. And like you have to analyze because you have to grow.
And I think, right, what you're saying, I'm like, it's so true. And also just knowing some episodes will be better than others.
Correct. And knowing like you're putting
like
it out there.
An episode where like, we don't like, it was hard for us to put out because, and also sometimes it works out amazing when we have, like some people love when we have a guest. Some people are like, no, I just want to hear you guys chat, And you're
never going to please everybody. So you have to also stay the course. Like what I said, like, I know when people were giving me pushback, like too long, no, whatever. Or you talk a lot in your interviews. I'm like, yeah, because it's not an interview, it's a conversation, right? I had to like start helping people understand what I was trying to do.
Right, people, right. They feel like they're giving, I know, but it is hard to be like, okay, I want to be there for my audience, ask what, like that is a hard
100%.
So like you're there for an audience. You want to give them what you want. Like,
yeah, it's like you have to find that.
Asking advice if like, do I really want to take it? But like,
no, I don't think you need it. I think the best advice to take is what I was going to say is that know why you're doing it, know what you want to accomplish. So when the people come, like, for example, to me and say 2 hours, and I'm like, instead of me being like, oh my God, should I make my podcast shorter and I have to please? I'm like, no, like, this is what I want to do. Like, I know that 2 hours is my sweet spot. I know that this is what I'm trying to accomplish. And this is how I need to get there. And just really know what you want and not worry about the noise because everybody is going to want something else. Right. And so if you go and try to please one group of people, then you're disappointing the other group of people. So the only thing you can do is, like we said, theme of the podcast, like you really have to be yourself. And then you attract almost anybody because they're coming for you, not because you're trying to be something or please or accomplish what someone's asking of you. It's like, this is what I'm here to do. This is how I'm doing it. This is the way that I'm doing it. And come if you want, don't come if you don't, right? Like that's I think is what my journey's been and my work.
Wow. Did we reach the 2 hour?
We definitely did.
Reach the 2
sweet spot on the dot because we started a few minutes late because of my.
Oh my God! Wow, it really is your like
my sweet spot. It is.
Wow.
It is.
Well, Chavie, thank you so much for having me. It's been
thank you for being an awesome guest. Thank you for being open to doing something last minute and trusting, sure. Right? Trusting
trusting
me.
People that you can't even like, you don't even know. I once messaged. If this is too long, if it's over the 2 hours,
no, we're good.
When I was trying to start my YouTube channel and sell these kits, like thank God we've sold, I think, over 8,000 tambourines at this point.
No way. That's incredible.
And
by the way, just so people know, all your information will be in the show notes. If you want to order kits, if you want to engage more in all that Mushky has to offer, you will have all the information in the show notes.
So I reached out to like any influencer. First it was the YouTube I was reaching out. Now I was like for these kits, and I reached out to like a bunch of influencers, like especially the ones that were like that Mashiach vibe. So I reached out to influencers, like I'd love to offer you a free kit or even a free party because we sell the kits, but for additional fee, I come dressed up as that character. Yeah. So if it's a thing, I come all dressed up and my costume is Miriam and make it into a whole like that whole experience. And my sister was like, you have to get this influencer. So of course I listened to my sister, like I messaged that influencer. I would love if you could sell these, if I could offer you these kits for free. And then because I was following all these people, I ended up having all these people I'm following. And I'm like, I have a limited time. I think when you're putting out content, you don't have time to like take in so much content. I ended up unfollowing a bunch of people just because just like life and kids, and then I saw that this influencer, my sister sent me a screenshot. It's months, it's almost a year later since I messaged her. She's actually doing your kits. So I reach out to her and I see on her stories, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, I'm so excited you're doing my kits. It's such an honor. Again, if you want me to come down to do it. And then she writes, how did you see my story? I'm like, innocent. I'm feeling innocent. I'm like, oh my God, my sister sent it to me. She really, I didn't get where she was going. I'm like, she values you. You're such, a philanthropist and you juggle. And she's like, I just want to tell you, it's like business 101, sister to sister. Like, don't even think of messaging someone and asking them something if you don't follow them. It's really rude.
Wow.
And I was shaking. I'm like so
Yeah.
scared. I'm like that little girl. Anytime someone calls me, I think I'm running the principal's office. Like, don't do that. Like,
I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. I got in
like,
trouble.
oh my God, I'm so rude. I'm sorry. And then I'm like, give me a break. You have 75,000 followers. You are a millionaire. You need little Mushky to follow you? Like, I know there is
Yeah.
that etiquette and this like Instagram protocol, but like, give me some grace. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly.
Like,
Like
come on.
maybe ask the question of like, oh, I'm just curious. Why are you not following me? And you're going to be like, what? I wasn't following you. That's so weird. I really thought I
Yeah, and
was.
I was like, I don't even remember unfollowing her. It wasn't so intentional. I
Yes.
didn't even remember like the whole thing. But like that's what you were saying. Like you can't ask like people that you can't ask last minute. Listen, if it was a whole gallon, they're asking me last second. I'm like, okay, obviously someone like.
No,
And then,
100%.
well, if it's, I know it's a podcast. You're doing it every week. You're trying to juggle. It's something that brings you joy. I was like, oh my gosh, for sure, I'm happy to like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was really appreciated. And like I said, whenever you can just put positive energy out into the world, you just never know the impact that it has. And you get it back. You get it back.
No, so really, thank you. I was so like, grateful to be able to like able to give
I'm
it
so
back.
grateful
You
too.
were like, those people that were there for you when like you'll always forever. I was like trying to hold on to something and be like be something then, and you were so gracious, Javi. Really, like just the way you answered, interacted, and gave me like just the time of day. I don't even know if so people message me and things fall through the cracks, but I was really like,
Yeah, things always fall through the cracks. We're not perfect, but I think there's people know the general vibe if like you're really a genuine person who really cares and wants to just be nice. Like and I just think you're great. So it wasn't hard work for me. Like it wasn't like it didn't feel like I was doing something out of the ordinary, going out of the way. It was just like,
it was like the
you're
perfect
great.
timing and something else canceled today. Like it just like.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you for being here. Okay, wasn't that fun? Mushky's so funny. I had so much fun recording this episode, so I hope you had as much fun listening to it as I did. And there was one part of this episode that I really have been thinking about and kind of stuck with me. And when Mushky talks about this like idea of being like a Disney princess, and all she wants to do is just walk down the streets and be a princess and be recognized for that. And the vulnerability that it takes to say that, but also it's not only about saying it, is also the ability to face our own desires without the shame is so huge. And what I've been thinking about and what I've been noticing is that the things that we feel ashamed of, and I'm quotation marks, are oftentimes the exact direction we're supposed to be in. Like, yes, Mushky is supposed to be doing that. And now she's like tapping into that. You walk down the street and you see Mushky, like she's a princess, and it's amazing. And the way that the content that she's creating and just leaning into who she is without the voices that are coming to say that's silly, that's selfish, that's shallow, that's whatever it is, the voices that we have in our head that we tell ourselves is just the Yetzer Hara. It's like the evil inclination who's trying to set us off our track. And I can speak for this very personally because so much of what I do, I sometimes feel ashamed over. I think I've said it before, but in a little bit of a different context. Like, who do you think you are having a podcast? Why does your voice need to be heard? Why do you always need to be seen and heard? Like, there's so much shame that gets in the way. And then it gets in the way of what we're supposed to actually be doing in this world. Like if you want to know what you are meant to be doing, probably do some reflection and think about the thing that makes you feel most uncomfortable and the thing that makes you feel a little bit of shame and a little bit of like, who do you think you are? You have such a big ego. Like all those things, I can almost 100% guarantee you that that's where your path is. And the trick is to embrace it fully as a gift that Hashem gave you to use. And then when you do it in that way, it's not about ego. first of all, we all have ego, and we're meant to be using our ego in a positive way. So when you lean into that and recognize and face the talents that you have, tap into like what makes you light up, and at the same time makes you feel uncomfortable and a little bit, the little shame starts creeping up, that's go there. Go there because that's where it's at. And I'm so passionate about this because I've been discovering this for myself. And when I hear like Mushky talking about just like this desire to just be the Disney princess, but do it in a way that it's because Hashem gave that particular talent to you, and use it. And look what she's doing between the crafts and what's going on with kosher.com and with the sisters chat. Like, that's what happens when you lean into your power and when you lean into your talents, things happen. So anyways, that's my like little reflection from the podcast, and I feel really passionate about. And which is taking us right to our voice note segment, where every week we put out a hot take. And I actually wanted to just touch upon something for a second. A lot of times we're asking for like a hot take, and we're asking a controversial question, or asking a question that like you might feel judged if you really say your full truth. But the point is that we want to hear like what pops into your head, no holds bar. Like, you're not going to be judged. First of all, you can choose to be anonymous if you want to. It's really fun when people want to own what they say. Like, I love that. But if you want to be anonymous, that's also 1000% fine. And say like the first thing that comes to your mind, because when you start to get into a nuanced conversation, that's not a hot take anymore, right? We have the nuanced conversation on the podcast. Like, that's where we go through the nuance and the different perspectives and the different sides, and of course, like circumstances, and we do that. But when you get a hot take, like the fun thing about a hot take is if you like just say what your brain wants to say without any filter. So I think we're getting there. The hot take for this week was, at what age do your kids get to decide their own values? Or do you think your kids are allowed to have their own values? Now, I recognize that maybe the word values, I could have used a different word, because of course everybody gets to have their own values and everybody has their own opinion. The real question was like, in the home, like, do your kids get to act on their own values, or do they have to follow the value of the home? At what age do they get to decide? So it's an amazing voice note section. We have quite a bit of responses to share. You will see that people do get into a little bit of the nuance of it, which is why I'm prefacing this segment with, don't worry, you don't have to do that. No one's judging. The most fun is when you just say it like a hot take and leave the nuance for like the longer conversations. And also me, like, I get to hear what you have to say and then provide nuance if I feel like it's necessary. So without further ado, we're going to play our very first voice note.
Part of parenting is cultivating your child to be able to have a sense of values and to have the courage of their conviction to be able to live out their values as an adult. So I think that as children develop their own sense of justice and what's right and wrong, they should be encouraged to live their values, when it's age appropriate and developmentally appropriate. They should be encouraged to live those values, even if they may be different than the values of the parents. Obviously, there are values that are expected in school or at home. So, there are always boundaries here, but I think children are unique, and they're separate people than their parents, and they're going to have separate lives and different lives and make different choices than how their parents have chosen to live. And that's just how life is. And so they should be encouraged and have the tools to be able to develop their own values and to live with integrity.
So I like what she said, and I think it is a very common answer is of course kids get to have their own values, but there are boundaries in the home, and most of the time children have to live within the boundaries of the home. But I like what she said in the beginning, which was like, it's our job to teach our children to discover their own values. Like, I feel like that was a very beautiful perspective and a beautiful emphasis, where it's like, not only are we talking about, do your children get to live by their own values, but let's take a step back. Are we teaching our children, number one, that values are important? I think there's a huge segment of society that are taught zero values and are taught that values are not even a thing. So I love how she took it back and was like, wait a second. First, we have to encourage the concept of values. And when we teach our children that values in and of itself are important, and then we help them kind of develop and figure out what their values are. And the challenge of a parent is, as we guide our children through the discovery of their own values, do we and can we let them live their values as they see it? And I think that is very powerful, and that depends on the age of your child, right? Which is the crux of the question, which let's see if anybody else addresses.
I believe that until teenage, we are nurturing our kids and we are guiding them with giving them the values that they should have, encouraging them this way, that way, and actually enforcing them as well in a positive way. By the time they're teenage, I hope that all the values you instilled is strong enough for them to want to do those on their own. If they have other ideas, I personally believe that by then you should be supporting their values, hearing them out and supporting them, and potentially letting them make some mistakes. Obviously, you're still encouraging and you're saying your values, but by then it's important for you to support theirs so that they feel empowered by their strengths and their values and believe in themselves.
Okay, that's great. I love that. And I like the conviction that she came in with, saying like, no, when you're living in my home, I'm teaching you the values that I see fit, and you are going to uphold those values. And of course, because you can't deny, like, when your kids get older, what are you going to do? Force them to live the life that you want them to live? It becomes pretty obvious, like once a kid turns 18 or once a kid's living out of the house, that you have much, much less control. The question is, for me, what comes up for me is the like, when your kids are little, do you actually have control, or is it the illusion of control? And I have some thoughts on that. We'll circle back to, but let's hear the next voice note.
I truly believe this should be an open discussion where a parent helps guide their child on those values. Oftentimes, kids don't have enough knowledge, history, life experience, understanding of consequences to really know what values to choose and what the consequences of some values may be. And therefore, it's up to the parents to help guide them and help share that wisdom and knowledge with them. So I think it's always best to have an open discussion to learn about what they think their values should be, how their heart is guiding them, understand them more, and then for the parent to advise and help shape what that value may look like.
Okay, that voice note was from Rachel Taxman, and thank you for not being anonymous. So I really like that nuanced point of, okay, when kids are little, like, the point of children having parents is because they can't go out into this world and survive themselves. Like, kids need parents. And when kids don't have parents, that does happen. We have a foster care system. It's very detrimental when kids don't have the guidance and the boundaries and the structure. Like, it doesn't go well. And I love this point, because as much as we want to give our kids a lot of autonomy, and as much as we think that and we know that there's only a certain amount that we have control over, there's still the responsibility of a parent. And we have to lean into that role and be confident in that role, that as a parent, yeah, we are here to hold boundaries and share values and impart wisdom and say yes or no, right? Like, that is our job as parents. And I think oftentimes our parents get scared. they're scared to assert themselves. They're scared of the ramifications. They're scared of their kids' reactions. They're scared to damage their kids, or they want to give their kids as much autonomy as possible. And I get it. I get it. Trust me, I've been there. I am there often. But we have to remember that parents aren't for sissies. My grandmother used to say that. Like, you have to step up and do your job as a parent. Now, this is where like the nuanced part of the conversation comes in, where it's like, okay, you obviously want to include your children in this discussion. You don't want to be a dictatorship. You want to impart the values like many of the other women who said in the previous voice notes. Like, you want to be able to impart your values in a way where your kid's going to want to be involved. Yes, those things are super important. And we're parents and we have to take that job seriously. And kids need the structure. Kids need the safety. They need to know the lines that they're not allowed to cross. They need to know that their actions have consequences. If they don't get that in the home, they're going to go out into the world and expect that they are going to expect to be able to do whatever they want with no consequences. And it doesn't work like that. So I think a huge part of our job, and it's uncomfortable, and also in our modern times, we've swung the pendulum so far to our kids like having autonomy and our kids being like us being scared of our kids. And that has to stop. Like, I'm a firm believer that that is not setting up our society up for success. So I love that perspective. Okay, next, a voice note.
Hey, so I saw your Instagram story about the values and I had something to say about it. I think that it's really important to exemplify and to kind of teach your kids your values up until a certain age. I think it is really important when kids are younger to teach them your values and to encourage them to follow your values, whether it's davening or benching or dressing tznius, like whatever the values are, being kind to people, giving charity, helping people when they're sick, whatever it is. I think it is really important to not just do it yourself, but to kind of encourage your children to do it as well in whatever shape or form you find appropriate. But at a certain age, you kind of do have to back off and let them do their thing and kind of form their own values and pray that they align with yours, but they might not always align with yours, But I definitely do think that there are years where we have to reinforce it with our kids. And I know, like, for me, let's say davening is a hard thing. Like, I don't really daven every day, but I want my kids to. And so, like, Sundays, I'll make a point to daven in front of them and, like, encourage them to also. And I've noticed, like, with the younger kids, it's a lot easier to get them to do it. And with my older daughter, like Mussy, she has a really difficult time with it. And so I've had to be creative about the ways that I encourage her to do it. I let her daven from like the woman's sitter that I have, which is like an abridged version of davening, because I feel like she's still at the age where I want to encourage it. I really do want it to be part of her schedule, But in a few years, I'm going to back off and be like, listen, like, she's going to see me doing it, hopefully. But like, I'm not going to stand over her and say, you have to daven before you go out, Anyway, that is my hot take. I think as parents, we pray that our kids will align with our values. But at a certain point, we just have to let go and kind of see what unfolds and embrace however they want to show up in their life. I think if they come to us for guidance, we can share our values. But I'm imagining that when my kids are older, there's going to be a lot of work on myself to kind of witness the way that they show up without judgment.
Oh, I really love this message. This is from Sara Miriam Smith, who has a very special place in my heart. She's a very good friend, but also was the first podcast that we dropped on Totally Unexpected. Beautiful, beautiful podcast. So if you want to go, if you haven't listened to that, you definitely should. But I really love what she said. I think it kind of picks up from what I said after the last voice note of like, yeah, you have to, it's not enough. I think we oftentimes say like, you can't force your kids to have your values, but you have to show, like, you live it and you show them how you live, and hopefully they want to live the way you live. What Sara Miriam's saying is a step further, and I really agree with that actually as I reflect. It's like, no, it's not enough just for you to live it. You actually have to facilitate and manifest your kids living that way too. up to a certain age, right? At a certain age, you have to let it go. And you hope that you gave them the tools to figure life out and to be healthy about it. But it's not just, oh, my kids watch me daven, so they're gonna daven too. No, they're gonna need encouragement. You're gonna have to facilitate it. You're gonna have to think of creative ways to make it happen. And I think oftentimes, I know for myself, I'm like, oh, they don't want to. They just don't want to. And I don't have energy to fight about it, so I just give up. Well, that's the easy way out. Like, okay, if they're not connecting to davening in the typical way, how am I going to be creative in this value that I hold and that, to be honest, I want them to have? I love what Sir Miriam said. It's like, you want them to, like, I want davening to be part of their day. So when they're young, I get to impart that and I get to make it a part of their day. Now, whether they choose to do that as a young adult, that's on them. But it is in your power to create that and to actually not only demand it of yourself, but demand it of your kids in a way that brings them in. Obviously, if you're going to be harsh about it and you're going to punish and have consequences, like, no one's being motivated around that. And that's pretty basic. But there's also this idea where our kids don't want to, so we just give up. We don't want to fight with them. We pick our battles. Well, maybe there's some battles you should be picking. You know what I mean? And maybe there's creative ways to impart your values. Also, make it your kids' responsibility. Also, like, these are the values that I'm teaching you and that you are obligated to participate in, or I'm asking you to participate in. Of course, again, you can't force it, but you can expect and you can guide and you can facilitate. Very good. Very, very good. Here's our next voice note.
I think people are entitled to have their own opinions and their own values at any age, honestly. Maybe that sounds a little, I don't know, progressive of me, but I really feel that you're entitled to have your opinion, even if it differs than mine. You're entitled to feel what's important is important to you, even if it's not important to me, and vice versa. I think in terms of practice, that's where it comes in. And in that case, I really feel like if I'm paying the mortgage, I have what to say. And until you're paying the mortgage or old enough to be paying a mortgage, you're going to do what I practice in our home. Is that crazy? Also, I hope that we're giving over our values in a way that makes our children want those values. And I think that's on parents.
Okay, yeah. So there's like two extremes to this voice note, which I love. It's one of them is like, okay, of course, we're all entitled. It's not really extreme, but it's like opposite ends of the spectrum. We're all entitled to our opinion. 100%. Even your 3-year-old, your 2-year-old, they are entitled to their opinion. They're entitled to express that opinion. They're entitled to share their opinion. And then you're the boss. You're living in my home, right? I'm paying the bills, which is a very practical way of looking at it, but it holds weight because that's how the world works, right? You're in school, the school makes the rules and you have to follow the rules. If you don't follow the rules, you get suspended. At home, there are rules. And I think we have to be really smart about the rules that we impose on our children. I always feel like it backfires. When you have like 8,000 rules, it's going to backfire. And I learned that the hard way because I'm very structured and I like things a certain way. And there was always like, this is the food we have in their house. This is how we eat. This is and there was like so much. And at the end of the day, it's like, it's too much. So I definitely had to learn how to pull back from, I think it's always important to have like a few really powerful rules over like many, 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 many small rules that just gets so overwhelming. So I think absolutely, yeah, you're entitled to your opinion. And I love that that point was brought out because sometimes we don't really want to hear what our 2-year-old has to say or what our 5-year-old has to say or what our 8-year-old has to say. And I think we do. We need to make space for them to be able to share what they want to say and then say, okay, yeah, I hear you, but here's how we do it in our house. And I have some personal stories about this and experience. And my youngest, Hanalea, who's 8, and I feel comfortable sharing because her personality, and I could just so see her listening to this podcast like 15 years and like getting a kick out of it. But she struggles a lot with Shabbos and kosher. it's very, very difficult. And she goes to a public school and no one's doing the things that she's doing. And I remember she told me, she's like, when I'm older, I'm not going to keep Shabbos or kosher. Now, that's a really hard thing to hear as a parent, and it's scary. So your first response is to convince her, like, no, Shabbos is so beautiful and kosher is this, and it's going to be when you're older, you're going to see, and like, but I am been around the block long enough, and she's my youngest, so I have some experience. And so I held myself back from trying to sugarcoat it. And it's really about, I was uncomfortable with hearing that, and no one wants to be uncomfortable. So then you impose that on the recipient, and that's not what needed to be said, like mazel tov, So I said to her, I took a deep breath, and I'm like, yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard. And if there's anything ever I can do to make it easier for you, you let me know. I was so proud of myself because it was a hard thing to say. And also I was like totally validating her feelings and also subtly letting her know that it's not changing in our house. But if there's something that I can do to make it easier, like, is there a food that's like goldfish crackers that you can't have, but maybe there's something we can find that's similar. Or maybe I can give you a special treat in your lunch every day so you're not jealous or trying to get treats that are not kosher. I was like just giving her the message, like, yeah, I know this is hard. And let me know if I can make it easier for you. And the other day she said to me, literally this happened like last week. She's like, if I wasn't Jewish, and because that's her context, like she goes to public school, then I would wear tank tops and she gave me a whole list of all the clothes that she would wear. And I looked at her and I was like, it is so hard to be tznius. And I said to her, you know what? I struggle with it too sometimes. There are some times that I don't want to be tznius either. And just like sharing, like making their feelings valid, like their opinions matter. But it doesn't mean that, oh my gosh, all of a sudden you hear that and it's like, oh no, they're not going to keep, it's too hard for them and I have to let them make their own choices. And I think there's this, like, talk about the nuance, right? We all do the best we can. We all have the tools that we have and we all learn. By the way, how are we learning? We're learning from our mistakes. Usually the oldest, get the brunt of it. I'm the oldest in my family. So it's practice. The oldest are practice runs. But through experience and through understanding what it means to be a parent and holding that responsibility and what it means to understand that your children are their own separate people. It's like holding both of those truths, that you're a parent and you have responsibility and you need to show up as a parent and don't be a wuss. And also your children are their own people and they're going to have their own journey, and make those two things work together. And everyone's going to do it in their special, unique way. Okay, so I just want to actually read to you a message that I got. So it's not a voice note, but I do think that there's a lot of value to this message, and I really want to read it to you guys. So here it is. As a struggling teenager, if I simply felt safe telling my parent that my values didn't align with them and the schools they were sending me to, I probably would have saved myself from a lot of heartache. Instead of being in a safe school that was just more modern and open-minded, I turned to the streets for comfort and connection. I ended up in a life of drugs and darkness, when all I needed was to be understood and to break out of the box a bit. My life would be very different today if my parents would have seen what was right in front of their eyes and took action accordingly. The proof is in my sisters, who struggled very similar to me. At that point, my parents understood that they needed an out-of-town school where they can express themselves and break out of the mold. They went on to lead very stable lives after seminary. But BH, I am very grateful for my journey through the darkness and back out the other side. I have been able to help so many people through my experience. Okay, so this is a really powerful message. And I just want to, first of all, just make a lot of space to hear that experience without any commentary. And I think this is not a one-off experience. I think many children and adults today have experienced that, where they just weren't able to express what they were feeling and didn't feel like they could. Maybe they could have, I don't know, who knows? But it was definitely felt like they couldn't. And it led down a really scary path. And I think it's a very powerful message, because at the end of the day, no matter what our values are and what our children say their values are, there has to be the ability to have an open dialogue. So even if a child comes and says, I have different values than you, it's so important to hear that and see that. And whatever boundaries a parent wants to hold, that's their prerogative. But there at least has to be the ability to have a dialogue around it for a child to feel safe to say how they're feeling and what they're feeling without the fear of it going sideways or it being so detrimental that they can't even share. So I really appreciate that I got this message and to share it, because I think it holds a very important lesson for us all. And we can always, like the little things that we come across and we hear from other people's experiences, it helps us in a small way or a big way make better and informed and smart decisions in our own lives. And for our last voice note, we have a little special treat from a child, a minor. This is from Meni Ben Chion, and it's just a cute, fun little perspective from a 12-year-old.
Of course kids should have their own ideas. I mean, it should be parent approved, but they for sure will develop their own ideas, and I totally support that. Yes, I think kids should have their own values, but it should be parent approved.
Hey, you know what? That kid's got his head screwed on straight. He's like, of course we're going to have our own opinions and values, but it has to be parent approved. Well, maybe he should talk to my son, because my son doesn't think that way. He doesn't think that anything needs to be parent approved. He thinks he's in charge and he gets to make the rules and you're just along for the ride. Anyhow, have an awesome day. This was so much fun. Can't wait to hear your hot takes on the next topic. Keep them coming. Keep them spicy. We love it. See you later. Okay, so this podcast does not happen by itself. The magic takes a whole group of amazing people, and I want to tell you who those people are. So obviously I'm your host, Chavie. Our producer and creative director is Eli Ben Chion. He keeps me on my toes. He makes sure that I just keep growing and on point and don't miss a beat. He's the best. Audio is edited and mixed by Reed Seeley. Also, unbelievable. He's so cool, calm, and collected. You kind of need that working with me. And the music, which is beautiful, is by Basia Schechter and Shaul Magid. And this is Totally Unexpected.